Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. You just crossed him over and danced to it.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
The crossover is brought to you by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha and everlowconcrete.com. What's up? Were you wearing the same thing that I saw you on Saturday?
No, I was wearing my Pine Tar game shirt on Saturday in honor of Royals Yankees.
Okay.
Yep. I'm wearing a different shirt. Also, if you did wear the same shirt in a row, 2 days in a row.
Did you have Pine Tar on that actual shirt?
2 out of 3 days. That's okay. There's these things called washing machines where you do your laundry, and it's possible to wear the same shirt on back-to-back days.
But doesn't everybody just assume you didn't do laundry that night? Like, why would you? So they're like, oh, you got your stinky shirt on.
They incorrectly assume that.
Because you're right in theory, and there's been a lot of times that I have done that and wore the same thing the next day. Usually team related.
And guess what? I'm not a stinky guy. Yeah. I don't have a reputation.
But then
of
I think, should
guy.
I wear this and people are going to look at me different thinking, God, dude, do you have any other clothing?
I don't care what people think. I don't care what people think. Yeah. I only have, well, that's not true. I have a lot of Royal shirts. And I'm disappointed in MLBshop.com.
Yeah, you get that shirt yet?
No,
delayed shipping.
No, I'm not going to get it until they're well eliminated.
Whoa.
They're going to ship me a postseason hat and a postseason shirt, and it's not going to get here until October 20-something. There's going to be 2 teams left.
Is this through Fanatics?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
whatever the
MLB,
MLB thing. I don't think it's Fanatics' problem. I'm looking forward to the shirt being garbage, but I bought one, and it's not going to come in the mail until they're gone. It'll be great.
What is the expected arrival date?
It's a moving target, Gary. It's a bit of a moving target.
Damn Fanatics.
Was it already supposed to be here and it isn't? Because that's the worst, when it's supposed to be here on the day and then it isn't, and then it means all hell just broke loose and you may not get it for another week.
Well, I ordered it the last Saturday of the regular season, and
Saturday of the regular season,
the day after they clinched on the Friday night.
Usually get in a week.
It was processing for an entire week until I finally called them. I said, "What's going on?" They were like, "Yeah, it's a specialty item." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I want it.
So
send it to me."
So the NFL shop isn't bad. Like, I've ordered the Chiefs Super Bowl hat to put in the cave.
Comes pretty quick.
It does come quick. NFLshop.com is pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're usually pretty good in getting me my stuff. Obviously,
Maybe
this is a different item.
Maybe you could just spend money and go to the game on Wednesday down there.
See, that would be that would be what I would have to do. That's where I got my boys are playing some ball shirt.
Can you cancel
never
it?
gotten that.
If you go to Kansas City, can you then cancel the order?
Probably it hasn't shipped yet.
Yeah,
so
that's disappointing.
Or maybe it has, and I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a nice surprise.
I'm glad I didn't go buying the Cleveland postseason stuff then, because I thought about it. They had a cool sweatshirt at one point. I thought about getting it. I'm glad I didn't.
You're not going to get it. It'll never arrive until they're eliminated.
So did you stay here after Big Red Overreaction and watch the end of the game?
No, I left and I listened to the rest on the radio.
That had to be a little rough.
I mean, it was uneventful.
It was Denny.
Yeah. Well, no, Denny's great. We love Denny. And it was uneventful, except for strike 3 on Bobby Witt Jr. in the 9th. Which was low.
Yes, it was.
It was low. It was low. I had to note that in my head and go back and watch it when I did get home. And then I watched the very, very fun Miami Cal game.
What a fun game.
Jeez.
That was
I missed a lot of the fun.
And then to add in, Reese Davis was losing his voice.
Yeah, he had nothing.
That was what I
can't believe they put that guy through that.
Well, their original broadcaster had a family emergency.
Yeah. So he stayed and did the game.
He's like, I'm in Berkeley. I guess it's me.
I didn't know it wasn't his game.
Reese had that happen to him last year where he lost his voice too. He was shelved for an entire week.
You got to wake up at 2:00 in the morning.
That was the perfect 9:30 at night game.
Yeah,
it really was.
It was a wild game. There were wild plays. They were like, "What the is Cam Ward doing?"
Crooked referees.
Absolutely crooked referees.
ACC.
I don't get it. Why are we acquiescing to Miami?
Because they are the only hope and dream of the ACC.
This is where the ACC is now. Yeah, usually things would work against them.
We've artificially kept Miami alive for 2 weeks in a row now. What do you think's going to happen the rest of the season? They're going to blow a game, and the refs aren't going to be in any control of it.
It depends on who they're playing.
The amount of offensive linemen down the field.
I know.
If Cam Ward can just keep
it's like 3 of them.
across his body, and
they didn't even say anything about it. It was just like up touchdown. All right, cool.
Yes, Cam Ward makes some wild plays.
Yeah,
man, but he looks effortless throwing the football.
Miami goes to Louisville next Saturday after their bye. Then they welcome Florida State to town.
That's a good team.
Then they go.
Florida State book guy was back this weekend.
He was. Congratulations to him.
Then they have Duke. Then they go to Georgia Tech. They're going to lose that game. And then they go to they have Wake Forest at home, and then they have at Syracuse to finish the season. What a rivalry!
Kyle McCord. Okay,
Miami, Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of Big East rivals.
That's rival.
Hooking up.
That's rivalries.
Larinaga against Boeheim.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly. In the dome.
They're about the same age too, I believe. Right.
Just got a message that says Rally House Gateway Mall full of Royals gear. I'm not going to Lincoln to get my Royals.
You can go to Rally House in Shadow Ridge.
Yeah,
we got a Rally House.
Yeah, we got a Rally House now.
Rally
You betcha.
House.
Just don't sign up for the email.
It's in where now?
Shadow Ridge.
Too far.
What do you mean too far?
Pavilion?
3 hours away.
You think I'm going to Pavilion?
So you're.
Wait a minute. Hold on here.
Pavilion? I'm not going to Pavilion.
The township.
Just get on 370, go to 72nd. It's right there.
370 is 7 hours away from my house.
Yeah, you don't just.
It is not that far from your house.
If you go on your way from work, you're fine.
I would have to go from here.
Yeah, just do that.
Yes.
You're already. I don't want to say you're in the neighborhood, but you're.
Texter
close
says
enough.
There's another Rally House at 120th and Center.
Oh yeah, there is by
that's reasonable.
L Street Marketplace.
I get to 120th and Center.
Really?
Yeah, in the L Street Marketplace, there is one. That's like a newer location. Yep.
Is that new?
Yeah, it's newer. Yeah.
All right.
Yippee says, do you guys even live in Omaha?
By like Cheddar's. It's like in the same area as like Cheddar's. Cheddar's still open?
Yes, and they're opening a Village Point location in January or February.
Classic.
We are.
Is
back
that
in
what's
Omaha.
going up there?
Yeah.
Okay, I was curious about
like
that.
right in the Shields parking lot.
Yeah, I was
The
wondering.
already overcrowded Shields parking
Yep.
lot.
Let's take some more spots away.
This may be a touchy subject.
Come on, Josh.
Do we find it odd that Rally House advertised like hell before they got to Omaha, and now they're in Omaha and they don't advertise here at all?
Oh.
I don't know.
When Connor and I started this show, we had the Rally House jingle playing every
Rally
spot
House.
block.
Just getting people ready.
Now they're here and they're
Rally
like, we don't need to because you'll just know where we're at.
You'll just know.
Before
and
we
people will
needed you
think
to,
you're an idiot if you don't know.
Now,
before we need you to drive to Kansas City to get our stuff.
I would, and they're all over Kansas City, but the one I go to is on the Plaza. So the last time I was at the Plaza, they had, it was shortly after the Super Bowl, like there was no Royals, no Sporting KC, very little KU, Mizzou, or K-State, because it was all Chiefs.
Yep.
That's what's moving.
So I wonder what it looks like today. Is it back to being
Maybe it's a little blue.
60% Chiefs,
I bet there's a lot of blue.
35% Royals?
Yeah, I bet
and
you got
then
a lot
the
of
rest.
I'd like to get a nice powder blue Royals jersey that smells like Fogo de Chao.
Shake Shack. That's when I go to the Plaza, I'm going to Shake Shack.
Oh, I know. Hey,
That's a delicious burger.
you never know who. That's a good people watching spot right
There you
there.
go, there you go.
Is. Sit on the patio right there in the corner, and people are trying to cross the street.
Go to Cooper and Hawk.
Yeah,
Cooper and Hawk's good.
Cooper and Hawk.
Good Brussels sprouts.
People are
Good
wondering-
Brussels sprouts.
People
yeah,
are
they're very
wondering
good Brussels sprouts.
how do you work here and not from home? This is a long way from your house.
Yes. Now here's the thing.
Do you have some against Sarpy County? You go to Warner Park. Is the only way you go to Warner Park is because they pay you?
Yes.
So we're not paying you to go to Rally House?
What are the things that I do? I only go
You're a
anywhere
whore.
where they pay me. Yes,
You're a whore.
100%.
You guys ever gone to Cooper's Hawk? I'm sorry, Cooper's Hawk. I think it's Cooper Hawk. Cooper's Hawk. You never gone to Cooper's Hawk?
No, I heard they have great Brussels
They,
sprouts.
they do. It's actually pretty good food. It's kind of fancy, but it's it's pretty affordable. So if you want to look like you're taking the wife out for a good dinner, the ambiance is very high class.
All right.
But it's
Next time I go to the Plaza.
Yeah.
But would I go for the championship parade in a couple
There you go.
weeks?
There you go. Go to Cooper's Hawk.
Brian says, do you not know that there is shopping in Sarpy County?
I had heard that momentarily.
There's golf in Sarpy County.
But I guess I figured I'm a millennial. Why not shop online? And it'll get here lickety split.
Damn right.
I ordered headphones. I don't know where the headphones came from. They probably came from somewhere not.
Well, I just noticed this.
Yeah.
What's your boy doing over here?
Yeah.
What is that on his head?
These are the headphones that I ordered.
They
And
do.
guess what? They were at my house in 24 hours. I don't know where they came from.
What happened to I thought you were part of the Bud family.
Yeah, I'm out.
Why are you out on the Bud family?
I'm out. Because you got to turn them up too, and they stick in your ear. I don't know.
Are you having some ear issues?
These are just good. They're good headphones.
He decided to become a radio professional.
I wanted to get something that would last a long time.
Yeah,
and instead of buying the buds that
I've only had 2 pairs.
yeah, mine already shredded out.
But why would you cover up that beautiful dome of yours?
Well, it's not really covered. It's more like it's not really covered.
It's very distracting.
My head?
When you have the buds, you got the full bald is beautiful look. Here you just got
This feels normal.
trying to hide.
Yeah.
This feels normal to me.
You having a little
They're very
got nice-
comfortable.
yeah.
They're very comfortable. Yours are very similar.
be team buds.
You're the only one you're on your lonesome out there.
Am I the only one that uses buds now?
I believe
I
so.
think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, bud.
I don't like it messing up my hair. That's really at the end of the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Sean writes in. You guys keep thinking Papillion is 7 hours away, keeps riffraff like you out of Sarpy County. That's
a good point.
See, they don't want me going
They
there.
don't want me.
Yeah, y'all don't want.
They don't want me. That's fine.
Yeah, you don't want us there.
Why not? Hoiberg says apparently there's a third rally house at Westroads. All these places very reachable.
Is there one at Westroads?
Very reachable.
Oh, that's a stone throw away from this building.
I'm like Gus Fring. I go the places that pay me and I go home.
Oh my God, there is.
At Westroads?
I go to Westroads a lot. I've never seen the rally house.
When the hell did rally houses blow up here? Yeah, I thought 2 for sure. I knew there was the one in Papillion, and I knew about the one at L Street Market. I had no idea there was one at Westroads.
This cannot be open.
Well,
Josh, I don't know. I haven't been to Westroads.
This isn't Oakview. There are places open at Westroads.
Other than Rush Market.
I go to Westroads frequently. My child loves the
Tilt,
the pizza place in the food court.
Oh, Weirdo Pizza.
That's right.
Weirdo.
Or does he like the little animals that are motorized?
Yeah,
that
those are cool.
No, I'm not one of those parents.
Didn't they used to have those at Oakview? They used to have those at Oakview as well, I believe.
I'm not getting whatever weirdo disease is on those brought into my house.
So how much do you have to pay to ride the little donkey around?
I haven't even looked.
I don't know.
That's how far away we are from letting my child ride one.
You don't think when they bring them back, someone doesn't come and sanitize them?
No.
Not a chance.
Nope.
Oh, wait.
They look fun.
They're too busy looking at the South Dakota kiosk.
I just got an email from MLBshop.com. It says, track your order. Gladly, I will.
All right. So it's finally, now it's been shipped.
Let's, theoretically.
Man,
they're listening.
They are listening.
They are.
Not weird
Like,
at all.
does anybody know what happened to Connor Happer's order? He's talking a lot of crap about us right now.
I called them and they were basically like, well, and I was like, this is not customer service.
They gave you that. Well, it takes what it takes.
Can you at least lie to me and say, hey, yeah, we'll get that. We'll get right on that. We'll but I'll go down there personally and I will find your order
right.
and I'll make sure it gets on that truck today. None of that.
No,
it was just like, yep.
It'll get there when it gets there.
It's an item and it'll be there at an undetermined date.
Did they use the hurricane at all?
No.
Okay, because I have experienced that with
excuses.
Fanatics before where there's been the hurricanes. They're like, due to the hurricane, our orders are tracking slowly.
That would have been a great excuse.
Yeah, I think and then what are you supposed to do? Like, well, okay.
I don't care about the hurricane.
Yeah, I mean, you then you're at the mercy of what they're saying.
It says now it will arrive anytime between the dates of October 10th and October 16th.
That's a wide swath.
No,
it's an entire week.
So it could be here as early as Thursday.
It could be here as early as
or next Wednesday. Or is that Tuesday?
This Wednesday or next Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
I have a rally house update.
Royals will not be playing baseball.
Wait, 10th is a Thursday, right? Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they will.
10th is a Thursday.
There is a rally house in Iowa next time you find yourself in Iowa, Connor, Council Bluffs.
I do go to Iowa.
Is it near the truck stop?
Where in Council Bluffs?
Metro Crossing.
Is that the one by
What's that?
What's Metro Crossing?
That would be where the Target is.
Big collection of places out there.
And you can find Rally House Westroads Mall located by Von Maur on the first floor.
No kidding.
There you go.
Man.
I'll make it over to Westroads much. That's a long way.
I don't go over by Von Maur.
Now you get it. Now you know what I'm talking about.
I'm more of a Crossroads person.
Yeah.
So I've really cut back on my mall shopping.
So you go to that Target a lot.
Not much available for you there. That parking garage is still going though, isn't it?
It's not open, but it's still standing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, we got the Target.
I heard they were going to try
Target's
and go
there.
vertical next year.
That's all you need.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But we got but the new public library is coming up.
Oh, that
corner.
is.
That's looking
And
good.
then we got this big, wide open, just mounds of dirt that they're
Mhm.
supposed to start building on.
Yep.
You're going to get the Mega Saver right there where the Fuddruckers
Yeah,
used
which
to be.
you know what? It's a terrible parking lot anyhow, right next to.
That is going to be a tiny Mega Saver.
They may or
Yeah.
may not be able to serve alcohol depending on the results of certain board meetings in town.
Now they're not going to serve gas or like have gas. There's no way in that parking lot.
you can't do
right?
that. You can't do that.
I wouldn't think so.
No, you can't do that.
That's going to be an odd
can
place to
serve
have a
gas, though.
convenience store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be filled with nothing but the finest of characters.
Mhm. Will there be any slot machines in there?
I was just about to say
Yep.
those will definitely be a part.
Probably got some
Uh,
slot machines.
Previous conversation on the show about Casey's and their gaming machines.
Yeah, very comfortable looking chairs.
One of our listeners said every time I go in there, because there's a Casey's by my works place, I get off work, I go in there, get something to drink, and he goes, I'll sit down.
What workplace? This place?
No, he's a construction guy. So he stops in Casey's. It's right by where he works.
A person. saying
And
this.
he'll
Got it.
he'll sometimes sit down. He goes, they are loose.
Oh,
So I said, just know that the machines at Casey's are loose.
What's that mean? That
He
means you
has
could
great
win?
success.
They pay out?
Interesting.
Oh.
You know what? It's funny.
Yeah.
Whenever I go in there is always someone sitting at there grinding away.
Do they look like they've been grinding?
Looks like they have a
look like
drink,
they're
like,
"Eh."
like they got one of those free drinks that you get at
Yeah.
a casino.
yeah. Well, Casey's will famously comp you.
I was
drink
yeah,
if you
just
play
saying,
those.
one of the Casey's employees comes by and just fills you up because you've been playing for an hour. You're like, oh, hey, can we get you a pizza?
Poll
Would you like a
question up
slice?
at Happer show. Does Casey's have the loosest slots? Does
Nice.
Casey's have the loosest slots?
Slots.
Their slots are
Yeah,
downright
you
filthy.
gotta watch where you put the O.
Yeah.
Because there are some Casey's in Omaha where, yeah, probably.
I think I know of one.
The ones where at 9 o'clock you have to knock on the door for them to come and open it so
Yeah.
you can come in,
Yep.
or you have to slide your money in underneath the tray. I
That's
get
why
it. It's all about safety.
I remember going, making a wrong exit over by, Troost over in Kansas City off of that area. There was also Paseo. That's when I first discovered a gas station that had the bars in front of the windows, and it was probably not the best place for us to be.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, oh, that's something. So kept that always in mind.
Some
Anytime
good
I
food
went by,
down there, though.
I'm sure there was.
The original Gates Barbecue.
Was on Paseo or Troost?
It's right by Troost.
Okay.
They've worked really hard to clean that stretch up in downtown when you connect the power and light all the way down to
Yeah.
the plaza.
I just imagine what it's like when they build a new stadium.
Yeah,
Whatever happened on that, by the way?
I don't know, it's kind of gone quiet.
Last
hasn't
time we were there, Westport was kind of cleaned up too.
Really?
I used to love going to Westport.
Yeah.
Used to
And
love
then
it.
and then at a certain point, it was like, I don't think I could do this anymore.
Yeah, it got a little intimidating. But then, yeah, we were there on a weekend like 4 years ago. It was good.
Harpo's,
Harpo's course, Kelly's,
Kelly's.
get a big bucket.
Yeah.
Those are the
Stay away from
places.
there.
Harpo's or Kelly's?
The Westport.
Oh, Westport.
I haven't gone in a while.
We had heard that it had gotten better, so we decided to check it out for ourselves. And it was, yeah, it was good.
Okay. There you go.
Mhm.
You just got to be careful about what time you're going, I suppose.
I bet, yeah. I think that's anywhere.
Does Kelly
Wherever you
serve
go.
lunch? Liquid variety?
I would assume so.
Oh, yeah, I bet they're open like late after or like afternoon. Actually, they have that pizza place connected to it where you can get a slice.
Oh, yeah.
Those goes
I mean,
good.
it's not Minsky's?
It's pizza.
Oh, no.
Look at us. Look at us knowers of Kansas City.
Yep.
Oh, I mean,
It's a big night for the city.
It is. I mean, you want to talk about? I once pursued bringing in Andy's to Omaha, the
Andy's.
frozen custard.
Oh, yeah.
Andy's
Yeah.
frozen
Very, very
custard.
popular.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the get in price is a little bit steep for a radio salary.
Sure.
But
So
I was going
you-
to put it right next to Sarbin Village is going to be great.
Did you guys ever go to the Beaumont? Ride the mechanical bowl?
No.
Also a Westport favorite. I don't think it exists anymore.
They got one of those?
Yeah, they had a bowl.
We got, what's that place with the mechanical bull here?
Oh, Bushwhackers?
Bushwhackers.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, Bushwhackers. What do you think people who come to Omaha, like, what do they do? What do they say about,
I know, yeah.
where do they go?
I used to go to Midtown Crossing, but no, there's nothing there.
More of a Blackstone guy now? Or
you know what, Benson? I like to hit Dundee. I like to walk down the street in Dundee.
Yeah, maybe people just don't come to Omaha. I don't know.
Sure,
They do. They come to the zoo.
Yep, the zoo.
And they realize that there needs to be
the zoo district
redoing of the rankings of where does the zoo beer rank? You know, like you got the shower beer,
Sure.
the beer after work, like the zoo beer as a parent.
Ooh,
never experienced that.
I have not
before.
either.
Well, you will shortly, and you'll be like, I need this more than I need oxygen.
Really?
We've gone a few times.
have
I've
so
never
many
had
things
a
to
zoo beer.
Carry when I'm at
Yeah.
the zoo.
I know. I like my hands empty.
Well, in the last few times we were pushing a stroller, we haven't now. We don't have to do that now. So free some stuff
Yeah,
up.
but then
he's gonna get tired.
and then you realize how hilly the zoo is.
Yeah.
And you'll be carrying your child throughout
My
the zoo.
legs are hurting me.
Tired.
I don't think that I
Toughen up.
I don't know. I
won't
wonder.
be a zoo person.
No, I love the zoo. I used to have a membership. I haven't gone in a couple of years though. But yeah, we'll probably go to the zoo. I just don't know. Like Josh said, I don't like to be carrying stuff around.
I am intrigued by a zoo beer though.
Yeah. I'm sure it costs $12.50.
Yeah.
But I don't usually buy their
cheaper than one you get at
concessions.
Memorial Stadium next year.
Probably.
No thanks to Kathy.
Now she's out on that.
There were people that expressed dismay to the Board of Regents about how they are sullying the reputation of Memorial Stadium and that there will be fights. Lots of fights are going to happen next year.
Yeah, this will basically be like the NFL.
I mean, I'm thinking more.
It's going to be like Dodger Stadium.
Yep.
They'll be throwing
I'm
batteries.
going to
at
think it'll be
people.
the typical Raider Charger weekend every week at Memorial Stadium.
Definitely.
Like that Houston Christian weekend. I mean, watch out. I mean, that's one where if you want to like break your streak of going to games, I probably would avoid that one.
Yep. I need to start putting up barriers around the sections for people, just in case they get the urge to fight somebody.
The fights. They should have fighting sections.
I would wear boxing gloves. in
Fighting
Memorial Stadium
section.
from
That's
now
a good
on out.
idea.
Yeah, they should do, like designated smoking areas outside the stadium. They should have designated fighting sections. Like if you're going to fight, here's where you go.
That'll be the last use.
The Fight Club, Section 19.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be
yeah.
the last use of South Stadium.
Get a
before
sponsor.
it blows up, which TBD on that one. But just have a little section in there, and everyone's in there punching each other.
Yeah.
Hey, did we ever get to the bottom of Dannon saying new stadium?
Not really.
Okay.
No, we just kind of let that
There's
one
a
go.
slippage.
Weren't a
It's in
lot
the
of
middle.
follow-ups.
It's in the middle of the season,
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah, we've kind of slowed, like the grass coming in is slowed a little bit because they got to get some of their projects done that would require the construction vehicles to be down on that level.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we like to introduce things and then pull them back. And then
Well, I
do
mean,
them.
you had
Yeah.
a change in leadership. You had a change in leadership.
The transition of power is what you're saying is slowing this down.
Well, I mean, they weren't
Timetables.
going to blow up the stadium anymore, or the South Stadium anymore. Once
just
That's
think
true.
in
Gannon
the
took it over.
back in the day, we'd be down to 2 more games left in Memorial Stadium as we know it.
I know. I thought
Yeah.
I was getting ready to
That's
say
true.
goodbye
Gosh,
last
that's
year after
true.
the Iowa game. I was like, "See you later, South Stadium. I will
Dang.
not miss you."
After that playoff game, it'd be like, adios, South Stadium. Yeah.
Trev said that's
See what I
okay.
did
We're
there?
getting rid of
See what
the
I did
court
there?
that has the
Man.
state in the middle of it. Your guys are good.
Say it again.
The basketball court at PBA is no longer.
I know.
You will not be able
we
to
were
score
talking
from
about that.
Alliance or Scotts
I know.
Bluff.
We were hoping to bring back the oversized N on the last year of
They need to
Devaney.
get rid of the iron in. Just
You need to get rid of the block end in general.
What do you put in midcourt then?
I don't like the iron in.
Oh, okay.
What if it was gigantic?
You mean like the Kansas, the
Yes,
Jayhawk
Jayhawk.
logo?
Yeah,
Yes.
that goes top of the arch.
We were
top of the
talking about
arch.
this on Friday. You remember
Yeah.
the last year at the Devaney when the N was gigantic?
Yes.
It basically
that back.
touched both
Yes.
3-point lines.
Why not just bring back Herbie and put him in the middle of the floor?
See,
Sure.
I
I
wouldn't.
came up
the
with a
old
design
school
many
Herbie.
years ago.
I wouldn't hate
not
that.
not the creepy Herbie that was even more creepier on.
No, old school
Saturday.
Herbie twirling a basketball in his finger. Yeah.
Yeah, he was wearing a pink shirt underneath his overalls.
Don't get me started.
My Herbie?
Well, remember,
It was about breast cancer, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I don't know.
October.
It'll make you as a political statement. Or
I don't
something
think
like
we
that.
talked about that
Herbie went rogue.
when breaking down Herbie. We did not mention that he would also be a supporter of breast cancer and would wear the pink shirt.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yeah, it's good to know.
You can make assumptions about people.
And we sure did with Herbie. We had Herbie figured out.
Yep.
Herbie's a supper guy.
He does. He loves supper, and he loves calling it supper.
Yep, he calls it supper.
That's for sure.
All right. Good luck in your lead up to 6:38 today.
Thank you.
You watch because I've heard you say you watched the game alone.
I like to watch the games alone.
Okay.
Yes, I will be doing that tonight.
All right. So good luck.
I'm a little disappointed. I'll be, not as much paying attention to the football game. The football was incredible
I'll
this
text
weekend.
you. I'll text you score
That's
updates.
okay.
I'll sign you up for
That's
some
okay.
ESPN alerts. So you'll be getting them on your email and your phone.
That would be a nightmare. Please do not do that.
Why?
I hate when people or things contact me. Stop it. Why is there so many?
You'll find them.
So
when you
many
find them.
push
So
notifications.
There is.
You have 29 days, my friend.
I have notifications turned off for everyone, everywhere, all the time. Group text. If I'm in a group text, immediately notifications turned off.
Yeah.
It's possible that the group text. So this will happen every week, multiple times a week without fail. For some reason, everybody in my fantasy league decides that 10 a.m. is the time to start texting everyone about what you're going to do this week or the trades or whatever.
Do you think they do that because they know you are helpless?
I don't know. I'm starting to wonder a little bit, but then it happens. And then by the end of the show, I have 67 unread text messages and I don't look at any of them.
Yeah.
I've long had a theory that people who have like an office job, like 9 to 5, generally only have about 90 minutes of work to do.
Of actual work, yeah,
100%.
So they bang a little bit of it out between 9 and 10.
Yeah.
On
and
Monday.
then 10 o'clock is, okay, it's me time.
Yeah.
And
Let's start looking at fantasy for the
Yeah,
week.
I need to get myself right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do
you're
we
right.
get one of those jobs?
I have no idea. Love one.
All right. Cool. Good luck.
So you're not getting any political
Thanks.
stuff?
Oh, I'm getting a lot of political stuff and it's triggering me greatly.
It's gonna be
And
all
they
over
always
your
say-
TV this week.
And they always say stop to end. And then
and
I
you
text
do.
stop and it never works.
It
You're right.
just sends your number to 3 other
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like,
So I
okay,
stopped
we'll stop.
responding to those. I stopped
Yeah.
responding because I was scared that it was sending my thing to other things.
Now,
All right.
now they got you.
I've added you to stop the shred.
Is that a group text? Or
It's political because I think you would like what they send out. The graphics.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That can't be.
Like I just got one. Hey, Husker fans, I'm doing a midseason mailbag this week, mostly on FB, but we'll talk all queries of NU sports, Big Ten, college football at large. Ask away.
Who's that from?
This is Husker Extra. Would you guys like to ask a question to this?
No. Good.
Great opportunity. Doesn't have to be.
I'm good.
I love Husker Extra. I will get the content when the content arrives. I will seek out the content.
You don't want the content coming to you?
Not really. No.
I
It's my
would.
personal opinion.
Yeah. I'll find it when I do find it.
No.
When I'm good and ready.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just get you like the most important stuff.
Thanks. Just the highlights. All right. That's crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Monday. We'll start things off next.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you, back from a long weekend of football. The football was good, Josh.
Football was very good.
Football was very good.
Saturday and Sunday.
Though I was just so happy. I sat there on my couch. It was about 2:30 yesterday afternoon, and I wanted to take it all in because there was 3 games that were all coming down to the wire in the last couple minutes of the game with Houston and Buffalo and what were the other two? There was 2 other that were going on at the same time that Scott Hansen was flipping me back and forth from. And I was so excited about this, and I just decided, you know what? I'm going to take this all in. I'm really Bengals, Ravens, and then Patriots, Dolphins, which,
Still counts.
I didn't really need to check in on that much, but
the discourse on Scott Hansen has changed.
What's he? Oh no.
I saw a number of people that were like, okay, I've sat on this take for too long. I need to voice my opinion.
What are they saying?
Scott Hansen is too chatty. He's supposed to send us to the games, not give his personal takes.
I'm not there yet.
What's his job?
Send them to the games.
Okay.
Send people to the games. But he also talks over some of the games too. Like they're changing the games so often that he has to come in and say, "Hey, look, we're taking you out to the other game. Here's the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what happened in the meantime." So at 2:30, I was just like, wow, what a life. This is great stuff. And I watched all those games end in relatively dramatic fashion, including with Lamar Jackson making an incredible play. And Sean McDermott doing something that everyone thought was stupid, but I actually didn't think it was that stupid.
You were in on.
I wasn't in. I just understood it. I mean, people were freaking out about what he did at the end of the game. Okay, so do we need to recap this? All right, so
set the scene.
It's 20-20, and the Texans punt it back to the Bills, and they down the punt inside the 5-yard line. We're talking about 30-ish seconds left here. So the obvious thing here is let's just take it to overtime. We don't need to push it down the field that much, like risk having a turnover and all these things. But Houston had all 3 timeouts left. So if Buffalo runs it into the brick wall 3 times and Houston takes all 3 of their timeouts, they're going to have to punt it back to them anyway, and they have it on their side of the field. Like it's, so why not throw it a little bit? By the time that Houston gets the ball back, it's not like they're going to need all those timeouts if you're throwing it and you're dropping passes or they fall incomplete. Like everyone was killing this. I cannot believe what I just saw. That is coaching malpractice by Sean McDermott. Just do the math. It's not that hard. Just look at. Sometimes that happens online, and there's like this huge mob of people that are like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Like one person says it, and then 900 people just jump in the dog pile of like, this is insane. I mean, it was a little crazy, but they had all 3 timeouts left. Like, just play it out the other way and see how it would have worked out in your head. It wasn't like it's a fireable offense what he just did.
Yeah, they gave it back to Houston with what, like 10 seconds left?
Yeah, they ran one play and they got into field goal range and they scored. Like, but the same thing would have happened had you run it 3 times, not get the first down, take all 3 of your timeouts. Like, why not take a shot or 2 down the field? Maybe the answer to that question is because your quarterback was concussed. He was still playing in the game.
Sure.
That's a different story, Josh.
Sure seemed that way.
That is a different story. Also, this weekend, we saw Alabama lose to Vanderbilt. We're not talking about this enough, Josh.
Well, no, we're
Alabama lost to Vanderbilt on Saturday.
A week after beating Georgia.
Amazing. The number 1 team in the country lost to Vanderbilt. And Lane Kiffin, I thought, summed it up pretty well in his post-game press conference where he was asked about some question about his game because he's the coach of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And he was like, hang on, I'm not really listening to you right now because this is kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime thing that is happening right now. Now, maybe it won't end up being a once-in-a-lifetime, but man, it was shocking.
It is the most significant win in Vanderbilt football history.
Yeah, it's quite possibly one of the most significant losses in Alabama football history.
Yes, as well. Simultaneously, they walked that goalpost down Broadway, and every bridesmaid had to be pissed. Oh, what are these football people doing?
I can't believe all these football guys were doing this to the football team.
And my guy, Diego Pavia.
What is up with your love affair with Diego Pavia?
Well, first of all, I've been in love with this man since he routed Iowa Western in a national championship game by handing the ball to Anthony Grant at New Mexico Military.
What a stud.
And then he goes to New Mexico State.
Yep.
And pisses on the New Mexico logo.
Love it.
Which is just a baller move.
Love it.
And then he says, I'd follow Jerry Kill to the end of the earth, and transfers to Vanderbilt. What an odd career path.
Nice. And then he beats Alabama.
It swears on national television.
Hey, he's got a fun name.
Yeah.
That's
probably a lot of it.
He did put out a tweet apology. He said, I'd like to apologize for cussing. Sorry for cussing, he said on national TV.
What a nice guy.
Yeah.
And Alyssa Lang runs about 85 yards to catch up to Diego to get the post-game interview, only for him to swear into a microphone.
Beautiful.
This happens. This is one of those great, like, hey, not every game in college football is significant because it has college football playoff impact. Like, sometimes just college football regionality is fun. And this is one of those examples that not every game has to be like Georgia, Alabama. And also,
great take.
Also, next time you complain about the transfer portal, Vanderbilt won this game because of the transfer portal. Like, the transfer portal makes things like this possible.
Yeah.
So shut up about the transfer portal. It's fun.
People aren't going to shut up about the transfer portal, Josh. They love talking about the transfer portal.
What about school pride?
But you're right in the sense that it doesn't have to be the worst thing in the world. If you're a fan of college football, your school, unless you're a fan of Clemson, of course, has taken transfers over the last several years, and they've been impactful players for your team. So yes, I would agree with you in the sense of get over it. 5 out of the top 11 teams went down on Saturday. Alabama, Tennessee, Missouri, Michigan, and USC. How about Minnesota beating USC? Minnesota.
PJ Fleck.
Yeah.
Insane person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to say that. Let's just do the college football thing now. I just, ever so slightly, when my team is not involved and I'm watching Minnesota just independently, and they're playing someone that it's Minnesota USC.
Terrible place to be, just watching Minnesota independently.
I'm just watching Minnesota and I'm watching USC. I don't really care who wins, but they got a pretty juiced up environment there, and they need to get off the schneid a little bit. Minnesota does, and so Minnesota gets the job done after the guy brandished a fake weapon on his, or was he pointing at his abs? We'll never know. And Coy Parrott gets the pick in the end zone, and of course, who's the first person that we talk to after the game ends and Minnesota wins? It's PJ Fleck. And I kind of ever so slightly, I kind of enjoy when PJ Fleck gets to talk his talk after the game. You know, he gets on there and it feels like he's got bullet points. He's got 75 different things he wants to say, but he knows he only has 38 seconds to say it. And he just rips them all off anyway. He talks about how great Minnesota is. He talks about how great his players are. You know, he says, come to Minnesota. You know, go Gophers. Go Gophers.
On that quick note, did you catch during the NFL game last night, one of the sideline reporters say Russell Wilson has a Steelers-centric catchphrase ready to go when it is time to deliver it?
No, I didn't catch that, Josh.
Yeah.
But not surprising news.
What a try. Anyway, back to Minnesota.
I kind of enjoy when PJ Fleck gets to get out there and talk his talk. I do. When Minnesota gets put in situations like that when they win big football games, you make that guy the center of the universe, and he loves being that. He loves saying how much he loves Minnesota. And he was complaining about Minnesota in the offseason and things like that. They don't have good enough NIL. They can't get players, any of that stuff. But during the season, it's like, this is why you come to Minnesota. This is what happens at Minnesota. This is why the Minnesota is the best. Roll the bus guy, you might go first. I kind of enjoy that. I don't know. Maybe I'm a sicko.
I had USC money line, so I didn't care. I didn't care for it.
Well, you didn't care for it. Yeah. I was going to say, you cared. And then we had the little 9:30 game between Miami and the Calgorithm.
Oh,
it's been said already 700 times this weekend, but what a great bit by Cal.
Yeah.
Just staring into it completely. The signs at college game
incredible.
Day. Ought for highest person. Several of them. I don't know. I didn't see one specifically, but you should have just had a sign that said Miami is canceled. Woke versus Coke.
Woke versus Coke was very funny. I only do lines of code. There were amazing signs, and
totally steering into it.
I thought Pat McAfee kind of gave like a good speech sort of at the beginning of College Game Day where he's like, hey, like, and it was very serious because so Pat McAfee as the vehicle for it was very odd. It was like, hey, we give places like Berkeley a bunch of crap and we assume it's one thing, and then we come here and we find out that it's this totally other thing, and we all love football.
Good take.
We don't have as many problems as we think we do. Football's great.
Good
Go
take
Cal.
Good take by Pat. Seriously, the rare W for Pat McAfee.
Who had to give away a lot of money because some kid at Berkeley made a kick.
They always give him that second one, though.
In slip-on shoes.
That game, by the way, complete sham.
Yes.
Complete sham. Targeting. I mean, one of the most clear targetings ever. And then 2 penalties that should have erased gigantic plays, including the game-winning touchdown in the final drive for Miami where they ended up punching it in, were not called. Amazing stuff. Just incredible stuff. You feel sick if you're a Cal fan.
Came all that way. Stayed up for hours.
That was a heck of a day of football. Don't look now. Army and Navy are both 5-0. # respect the troops.
Thank you for your service.
And then we get to follow it up with, Nebraska's on their bye this week, and we'll talk plenty about Nebraska on today's show. But we got a pumpkin patch, apple picking weekend, or you might say, actually,
no,
honey, we got Oklahoma, Texas. We got Penn State, USC. We got Ohio State, Oregon. We got LSU, Ole Miss. We got K-State, Colorado this weekend. That's a good little slate that Nebraska's not going to be a part of, and they sit at home and they take their 5-1 record and they say, go ahead, rest of college football. Whatever happens, happens. It's a nice place to be going into the bye. That was college football this weekend. Josh.
Liberty plays tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whenever you can get a nationally televised game, you get it, I suppose.
On CBS Sports Network, still counts.
Attaboy.
Alabama has to rebound against South Carolina. Washington, Iowa hosts Big Noon.
Washington, Iowa. Yeah, forgot about that.
We all expect.
Washington, Iowa. Washington got that win over Michigan over the weekend.
That's right.
Texter writes in, it's Venmo Chris, actually. Hello, Connor. Let's talk today about how the SEC is ridiculously overrated and deserves to be mocked. Bad offense, defense, and undisciplined football all around. Did you see the bit from the ESPN story that was going around this morning so they mentioned Ohio State and Georgia in back-to-back little blurbs, like, here's how the top 25 did this weekend. And they were like, well, here's the deal with Ohio State. Probably feels like a loss. They crushed Iowa 35-7. Never had a chance in the game. Iowa was a good team.
That close.
I was a good team. And they're like, oh, well, Georgia, they played pretty well, beat Auburn. But Ohio State, they can't be feeling good about that one. Once again, perspective is important.
No, I missed that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's some good old-fashioned SEC bias, but that's what happens. It's just how it goes. All right, welcome to a Monday show. Today, we will hear from Matt Rhule in his Monday press conference. That's right. Matt's going to do a bye-week press conference for us. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
No rest for the wicked.
Sam McKewon will join us at 1 o'clock. That is the lineup powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. No Schaefer today. He's in Vegas.
Schaefer's in Vegas.
Schaefer's in Vegas.
You took a child to Vegas?
He took a child to Vegas. I think.
Oh, wow. He did? I was just kidding.
He took a child. Yep. Whole family. Vegas.
Huh.
That's how you do it, my friend. If you could do it, do it.
No, I don't think that is how you do it.
Why?
Take a child to Vegas?
What's wrong?
Are you going to take your child to Vegas?
Well, it's not like the child is like going to get, caught up in anything.
Too many lights.
Too many lights?
It's distracting.
I think they'll be fine. I think I'll send out a text to Schaefer. I'll say, how's Hudson doing? Does he think there's too many lights?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great question.
So Schaefer will not be on the show today. That's the lineup powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you guys? 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor or Josh Show at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. We say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. Hi, what's up, brother?
Can you get some flame emojis in the chat?
Yeah, throw some stuff in there. This is a little bit more tame than the Big Red Overreaction chat on Saturday.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
That's good. We will do that coming up in just a second. You could also find us streaming live on 1620thezone.com or on zonetv.live. We will come back. Yeah, let's talk about that experience a little bit. The much hyped experience of me watching a Royals playoff game, and a good one, a great one, by the way, and also hosting a Big Red Overreaction at the same time. We'll have plenty of Husker football talk today. Offense, defense, special teams, Buschini, halfway point. We got a long road here before Nebraska, Indiana, which petition it for big noon, folks.
Bowl eligible Indiana.
Mm-hmm. So we'll have time to discuss all of it on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Oh, hey, Connor, how'd Big Red Overreaction go? That must have been fun for you.
Yeah, how'd that work out? I caught the beginning.
Let me tell you.
Up to the Rhule press conference. I thought you and Josh actually did some very nice things there. May I compliment you before we get into the hilarity of it all?
Sure. There was I don't know. I think we did a fine show.
The
callers called in, and that's what the show is.
You and Josh did this thing where you told me what Matt Rhule was going to say before he said it.
And then he said it.
And I appreciated that as a listener.
Yeah. It's okay. But that's good. That Nebraska becomes a predictable program. It means it has an identity. It knows what it needs to do to win football games.
I like knowing what my football team is going to do.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice. We'll discuss that here in just a couple minutes. But how did Big Red Overreaction go? It must have been really fun. The Royals were playing an ALDS game and a blood feud, and the Nebraska was playing in a one-score game against Rutgers at the same time, and then you had to host the post-game show full of callers who have insane things to say, and there was insane things in the YouTube chat. I'll say this, a lot of stuff going on. It wasn't fun. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
Not fun.
No, I didn't like it. I would have preferred to watch the Royals game, but I like to have a positive outlook on life, Josh.
I appreciate that about you.
And here's the positive. I wasn't able to get horribly invested in one thing or the other because I really couldn't. I was literally going like this. There was a TV over here. There's a TV over here. Just turning my head from side to side the entire time. So if I was watching the Royals game in silence in my basement like I prefer, I possibly saved myself from a medical episode. How about that, haters?
Oh.
I know everyone wanted me to die on Saturday, but it turns out Big Red Overreaction itself saved me from death. That is my takeaway from it. So yes, I missed one of the greatest, I quote unquote missed one of the best playoff games that, people have ever seen. I know it's hard to believe, but once again, another hard to believe baseball stat for you, Josh. Royals-Yankees game 1 ALDS had the most lead changes in a playoff game ever.
I've seen this stat many times over the weekend. I've not done the research because I guess ultimately I believe
it's true,
but it cannot possibly be true.
It's true.
It was like 4 lead changes, right?
It was 5.
5?
It was 5.
I would have thought the number would be bigger.
I would have thought so too. We've seen some crazy playoff games in the past.
We have.
But that one was the one.
All right.
Just like what was the Pete Alonso go ahead was the first go ahead home run with this team down in the last inning of a winner take all game.
Yeah.
Which stat is harder to believe? That or that the Royals Yankees game 1 had the most lead changes in a playoff game ever?
I guess the Pete Alonso one because I'm not smart enough to wrap my head around all the caveats.
There's too many caveats. You're right. So it's true. General takeaways. I don't know why Vance Wilson is sending Salvador Perez to score when the right fielder he was getting the ball and Salvador Perez was like not to third yet. And it wasn't like it was deep. It's not like it could be deep because they play in Tiny Baby Ballpark in the Bronx. Like he was out by 10 miles at home. Like just hold him. You get out the bases loaded with no outs. It's fine. Nope. Sent him in the first inning. Turns out that run ended up beating something in a 6-5 game. Tiny Baby Ballpark taketh. Tiny Baby Ballpark giveth away. Tiny Baby Ballpark was a factor in the game, both in a positive and in a negative way. A little bloop home run and then another little bloop home run. So it kind of evened itself out. We had taking starting pitchers out too early, although I kind of mildly understand that one.
Managers love doing that this time of year.
There was a little, I get it. You don't want to face Juan Soto and Aaron Judge 3 times. I understand.
Can you get me a 6-out save?
So Zerpa ended up blowing it up, and then I had to bring in Ursig in like the 7th. Then I might owe Garrett Hampson an apology for having a clutch playoff hit. I hate Garrett Hampson, but he had a clutch playoff hit, so I don't know what I think about him now. And then, of course, to put the cherry on top of all of it, in a great baseball game that the Royals ended up losing, and I was proven wrong a lot of times, instant replay turned out to be an entire crock of bleep. Great job. Great job.
This is the play at second.
Everybody saw it. Everybody saw it, Josh. He was out. Everyone saw it.
Well, he's only out if you think of second base as a place instead of an idea.
And the Royals replay guy, Bill Duplessis, is
What?
they call him on the phone and they say, Bill, should we replay this?
Mhm.
And he's on the phone. He says, yep, we should replay this. He's very rarely wrong. He's one of the best in Major League Baseball at having the quick decisions to replay the things. And he's rarely wrong because of it. And so when Bill Duplessis says, yeah, I think you should probably challenge that because it's an important play and it's at second base and it's late in a playoff game, they did it. And he was right. But for whatever reason, they couldn't overturn the call. He was out.
See, Connor, it has to be indisputable.
Oh, we've learned this over the years, haven't we, Josh? Indisputable video evidence. I don't know. I thought it looked pretty indisputable.
Yeah, those photos can be faked and made to look like anything you want.
Anyway,
Stop the steal.
Reagan's in Rodon tonight
Hello.
in the Bronx.
Could I interest you in that?
Could I interest you in Scooble Boyd coming up at 3:00?
You know the answer. Hell yeah.
I know you're fired up about Tarek Scooble. Matthew Boyd. These are former friends.
Now bitter enemies?
Well, I mean, they're pitching against each other in the playoffs. They probably don't hate each other, but
Be better if they did.
Longtime Tigers.
Like that Dodgers game last night. Boy, those teams hate each other. And it's fun to watch.
Jack Flaherty versus Manny Machado. Classic Big Meteor situation.
Big meteor.
Classic Big Meteor. Don't care who wins that fight. I hope they both lose.
Jerks and Profar trolling. Master class in trolling.
He's getting baseballs thrown at him.
Mhm.
Yeah, that series has got the potential to get ugly.
Yeah.
Same thing with Phillies Mets.
Wild weekend
It's
there.
gonna be
too.
fun. We had Castellanos. We had Nick Castellanos. Thought the Mets were going to do it again. Get familiar with a guy named. Get ready to learn Mark Vientos, everybody. That series will resume at a game apiece tomorrow, and so will the Dodgers and the Padres. 2 AL games today at 3 and at 6:30. Tigers, Guards, Royals, Yankees. I also didn't get the chance to listen to Bob Costas, and I was pretty fired up about that.
Yeah.
Pretty fired up, Josh. I liked it.
He had some thoughts
I bet he did.
on the state of the game.
I bet he did.
And about mainly Yankees thoughts. Seemed like the team they were playing against was secondary.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll finally talk about the Huskers. They won 14-7 over the weekend. I don't know if you guys have heard this.
That's good.
We'll get into it all. Offense, defense, special teams, punting, not punting, getting punts blocked, things of that nature. Coming up in the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Happy Monday. More of the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you. Football. Nebraska won 14-7. 14-7, Josh. Boy, was I wrong about that total seeming a little low on Saturday.
That's right.
Jeez.
Also, many would say 14-7, and it wasn't even that close. I would.
You would?
I would.
Okay.
That defense was.
They were pretty lights out, weren't they?
They were.
At the same time, Josh, they could have tied it if the guy would have just caught that touchdown that went off his head.
His face.
/ shoulders.
Nah.
Just tracked it a little bit.
Never a worry.
Never a worry?
Nah.
That doesn't seem right. I don't think you even believe that.
Never a
That's
worry.
not right. Josh, you can't just get on the air and lie to people that way. You were worried. Everyone was worried. But that's maybe where Nebraska's trying to make their money.
Got a little tight at the end.
In spaces where things get a little tight. People are going to be a little bit worried, rather, not early. But Nebraska's defense is the story. It wins the day. And they might be built for this. So here's some numbers for you, Josh. Rutgers had 11 offensive drives in the football game. They started one at the Nebraska 43-yard line. They started another on the Nebraska 2. They started another on the Nebraska 28. They started another on the 50. Is that good field position?
I would say yes.
Yes, that is correct. Only one of those drives, one of those 4 drives. So once again, they started 4 drives in Nebraska territory or at the 50, and one of them they started at the 2. They only got points on one of those drives. That was the one that they started on the 50-yard line. Rutgers converted a 3rd down in the first quarter. They converted another 3rd down in the fourth quarter. They didn't get points on either of those drives. And those were the only 2 3rd downs they converted in the entire game. Rutgers was 2 of 14 on 3rd downs, although they did go 2 of 6 on 4th downs. Rutgers ran 58% of their total plays from Nebraska's side of the field. The defense was outstanding. I mean, especially it's once again another goal line stand for them. But it's not like they were just 3 and out either. It was kind of they were moving some things just ever so slightly, and you kind of thought, oh boy, they're going to tilt it. So they did a really nice job of usually tilting the field. Rutgers did back in their direction, but at the end of the day, when it came to allowing points, Nebraska didn't allow them. Sans the 1 touchdown drive.
Feel like there's a lot of apologies that need to be sent the Nebraska defense's way.
Really?
Y'all were worried. Y'all were scared that it. Oh, Northern Iowa scored 3 points. Oh, my stars. Oh, that's you. That's what y'all sound like.
People were like, hey, how good is this Tony White guy anyway?
Illinois? Really? Illinois?
Yeah, well, the things that they did to make those pretty slick adjustments during the game, and it was a Riley Van Poppel game. You start wondering about the Riley Van Poppel eligibility. I don't think he was like the sole difference in it, but they needed to go to some bigger personnel and bring more down linemen in on defense and change it up a little bit. And Nebraska basically said, "Hey, look, we're gonna." Oh, they're showing the replay of this. We're gonna.
What do you think, Mad
Big
Dog's?
Red Overreaction's happening again.
What do you think of Mad Dog's takes are? Play it second.
Replay. I don't understand it. Or maybe he's talking about how the Yankees deserve this. They're the better team. But no, Nebraska's defense did a really good job. They did a really good job switching up their defensive fronts, and forcing Rutgers to just do different things. Nebraska was basically telling them, "Hey, look, we're going to sell out to stop the run. We're
no more Mr. Monungai.
No more Mr. Monungai." And boy, man, that key ended up being pretty good. And I talked about getting off the field on 3rd down. I talked about having early down success. Like Nebraska hit their keys on Saturday.
Check.
The offense was not necessarily, and we'll talk about that as we go on throughout today's show, but it didn't have their best day. The wind was a factor. Nebraska plays Like this is the big takeaway from this game. Nebraska plays and does really well at playing the game that they're in. They're not doing it. They're not doing things because they want to be somebody, right? Like they're not trying to do things because they want to send a message to people and say, this is who we are, and we're gonna we have this, crazy cool. Like they play the game that they're in.
We have to run for $150 every game.
100%.
No, they're not beholden to anything.
They're pretty dang good at playing the game that they're in, and that means in-game coaching, strategy, adjustments that you make, and the ability to get sort of better as the game goes along too. Now people are wondering, well, I just, if that's out there, if the first half is there for the taking and they could score 2 touchdowns and be up 14-0, or they could have the second half that they played against Purdue and, just blitz them right out of the gate in the second half, or I guess after the first drive of the second half, then where are these in the other halves of games? We could talk about that as well. But mainly the takeaway from you guys on Big Red Overreaction on Saturday night was, oh boy, well, I mean, I don't know about this whole get the lead and sit on it thing.
I like getting the lead.
5-1. They're 5-1. Not that there's not stuff to complain about. Like there is. Nebraska could execute in certain places better. I'm going to give you a stat a little bit later on, and Sam McKewon had the sort of impetus to this, and he'll join us later in the show as well, about what Nebraska is doing at the halfway point in the season and how much different it is from a year ago, first of all. But if Nebraska continues with the formula that they're on right now in a couple major stat categories, they're going to continue to win. It's just how much. And they're really good at playing the games that they're in. I think that's my big takeaway from Saturday. And then there was also this. Well, Monungai. So here's the Monungai stat. Monungai had 8 carries for 62 yards in the first quarter. 4 of those 8 carries were for first downs. I mean, he was gashing them. It was missed tackles. It was the dead leg. It was running over people. It was misdirection. It was patience. He's a really good back. In the second and third quarters,
then what happened?
He combined for 8 carries for 1 yard.
1 yard?
1 yard. 8 carries, 1 yard. He was only able to get 1 yard.
That's good.
It is.
For us.
He finished the game 19 carries for 78 yards. He had 1 8-yard first down run in the fourth quarter. That was basically all he had the rest of the game. Once again, started 8 for 62, finished 19 for 78. And 1 of those yards, or 8 of those yards, were on one singular run to move the chains in the fourth quarter. That is a heck of a job and an adjustment by Nebraska's defense. But people came back and they said, well, I guess I don't know what Rutgers was doing. How much do you blame Rutgers for offensive play calling? You do have to understand and give Nebraska some due credit here that they made a pretty slick adjustment or two in order to get them and Monungai out of their rhythm, right? But with that being said, if you're Rutgers, if you're Kirk Soraka, you got to go back to that. Like you got to get back to that a little bit sooner.
If my choices are Monungai or Kalikmanis, I'm going Monungai.
Sure. But I think Nebraska said, hey, look, like we're going to tell them we're going to sell out and we're going to do some things in the run game. Like, good luck. I dare you to pass it on us. They dared him, and they took the bait. Rutgers took the bait a couple times in the game, including with the coin toss, which we'll talk about as well. I mean, really, really interesting stuff. But once again, Nebraska, really good at playing the game that they're in, winning the game that they're in. And they won a 1-score game. What about that one, haters? How about that one? So I want to hear from you guys, 402-951-1620. Where are we at the halfway point? How do we feel about the game on Saturday? And like, I can't imagine that the sense, and I guess I don't have a great sense of this right now, but I can't imagine that the feeling from Nebraska fans is like, oh, we're disappointed we left something out there. If you would have, if I would have offered you a 5-1 start to the season before the season, would you have taken that? Maybe you would have rolled the dice out there and said, I'd like to be 6-0 by now. But you're 5-1 and the rest of college football is kind of crumbling around you. And Nebraska's got some things that other people just don't have, like a quarterback. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about his day on Saturday, which wasn't his best. But man, I think you do take that. Absolutely.
Here's where I come down on this. For the last let's call it 5 years, seems like a nice round number. if only we could win 1-score games. If only we could win 1-score games. And now you're in 1-score games and you occasionally win them this season. And it's, why are we in 1-score games with Rutgers? Like, it's never good enough for you people.
It's a pretty good football team, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everybody thought that they were, going into the weekend, going into the week, and now they can't. Like, no, there's no path to me being like, oh boy, like I just don't, that stuff just doesn't play. The rest of Nebraska played and won the game that it played. They had adjustments to make. They played for the win. They let their defense win the game. Like,
there was some adversity. There was even a little bit of, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah.
And they came out on the other side.
And the punter made a play.
Oh, punter made several plays. I don't want to hear another word about Brian Buschini.
What a day for the Buschini man.
Made man.
What a day for the Buschini man. He got split in half on his first block punt. I thought he was dead.
No exaggeration. I thought he was dead.
It's like, uh-oh.
Even though
what's going to happen now?
Even though I watched the second half of the game first and then the first half of the game later in the weekend, and I still saw it and thought he was dead. Even though I know he came back.
He lived. I lived, B-word. That's what he said. Alex writes in on YouTube.
Hi, Alex.
The Rutgers win will age nicely. With their schedule, Rutgers will win more than they lose down the stretch. I think you will find that as well. I think Nebraska beat a pretty good team on Saturday.
A great take from a real person.
Yes, many people are definitely real in our YouTube chat today. Yep. Max writes in.
Hi, Max.
He's also real. I think a good way to put it is that this turned out to be the least worried I had been in a 1-score game in ... maybe a decade. It was nice. Nebraska has their defense that it can lean on again. Mm-hmm. Whatever happened over the last two after that Illinois game, they got their swagger back. Remember when the talk was about how they kind of lost that edge a little bit and you didn't see that fire coming off of Colorado? And
for weeks, Matt Rhule had been trying to get them to play just like that.
Yep.
And I think they had a lot of that in their game Saturday.
Yeah, they played with the edge for sure. And they once again won the game that they were in. So speaking of that, so I don't. This isn't getting talked about what Nebraska did on Saturday. Once again, playing the game that you're in. The wind was a major factor, as discussed on this show on Friday. It's not so much the temperatures; it's the wind that'll get you. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about that, as my deck furniture can attest to. From set. It didn't blow away, but I heard it rattling around all day long.
It's moving.
I was like
shifting across the plane.
Who's knocking on our door? No, it was just the deck furniture getting moved around by the wind all day long Saturday and Sunday. So Nebraska wins the toss. What would you normally do in that situation in normal conditions?
I would defer to the second half.
You would defer your choice to the second half. Nebraska elected to take the ball, thus giving Rutgers the option on what to do in the second half. That gives Schiano the choice on what to do in the second half. He obviously did the conventional thing and chose the ball. He should have chose the wind. He should have chose the wind.
Yeah.
in that situation. In a game where the offenses weren't really going, Nebraska, how Nebraska's going to play when they come out in the second half. It's not like they're going to try and stop. Now, Nebraska probably, if they would have got the ball to start the third quarter and the first quarter, they probably would have pressed on the gas a little bit more. But they probably should have taken the win there and just given the ball back to Nebraska and leaned on their defense to try and get one more stop and then, have the win with you in the fourth quarter. On top of getting the ball, Nebraska got the win in the first quarter. I was a little miffed by that. They got a touchdown drive out of it. So Nebraska was able to take the ball and the wind right away, get a touchdown drive out of it, and then just sit on it for the rest of the game. And also remember, in the first quarter, Rutgers did their idiotic telegraphed fake field goal. That's why nobody thought it was going to be a real field goal, because they were kicking it into a 1 billion mile an hour wind in the first quarter of the game. I mean, it is Matt Rhule went He's talked about his reverence for Kirk Ferentz before.
That's right.
He went Kirk Ferentz, and it served him well in this game. And as Sam mentioned in his rewind today, and we'll talk about this when he joins the show in a couple hours, Nebraska gets on the fake punt. They're going with the wind just ever so slightly. The ball just tilts down to Jalen Lloyd. And then on the pass that would have been a game-tying touchdown down the sideline that hit the Rutgers guy's shoulder, he didn't track it perfectly. The wind affected that football too. Maybe a little kiss from the gods there for playing the game that you're playing. Nebraska played the game it played on Saturday, and it served them well. And so the formula is very clear. They have a really good defense. They have a fine offense. They don't turn the football over. They're getting turnovers at a pretty good rate. They're pretty explosive on defense as well. Once again, we'll get that stat a little bit later on, but at the halfway mark, Nebraska's got 20 sacks, which is directly on pace for 40 sacks, which according to Matt Rhule means 10 wins. Nebraska's forced 10 turnovers through 6 games. Nebraska's only turned the ball over 4 times through 6 games. If you combine those, if you carry those stats out for the entire season, Josh, that is a winning formula. That is a winning formula. It's very, very clear how Nebraska wants to win. It's just, and you know what? No qualifier. I'll just say they've been doing it so far this year. They've been doing it so far this year.
That's important.
5-1.
5-1. Don't apologize for winning the game.
Well, you wrote in here something about what Iowa Western did on Saturday.
Yeah, Scott Stromeyer also took the ball first and the wind to open the game, and it benefited him, and his opponent also did not seem to know what to do in the wind.
You give them the choice.
Yeah.
You say, all right, go ahead.
Now, Snow opted,
figure it out.
Snow opted to not throw it when they were going against the wind. And they were going against the wind for, oddly enough, 3 quarters. Because
the wind shifted.
Yes.
You got to know that. What's going on in the comments today,
I don't
Josh?
know. I'm sick of them.
Do we want to clean this up?
I have told them, clean it up yourselves, or I will clean it up for you.
Ooh. Good one, Josh. That's a very good parental thing to say.
Yeah.
So they have gotten in the way of all of the comments about football. Nobody is commenting about football right now. This is normally the point in the segment where I would take a couple comments about football.
A lot of who would sex who up.
Great. Happer Happy Sock writes in, #freedom. You guys are free to say whatever you want, but remember, this is a radio show, and I like the comments to be about the show. That way we can get your comments on the show, read them, and then discuss the points that you're making. But there's no salient points being made right now in the YouTube chat, oddly enough. No good points. Bad points only.
I see one from Husker Cav.
All right, Husker Cav. You just got to find them, I guess. They're hidden.
Don't doink a field goal and make the catch on the touchdown pass, and Rutgers would have been very dangerous. I'm glad it was our day, and the D held up when they had to.
Yeah, man. You don't apologize for wins. People talk about that part as well. But Nebraska got a break or two. And what do I always say about getting breaks and not getting breaks? Why does the team who doesn't get breaks constantly never seem to do the little things the right way? And when you do the little things the right way, you're oftentimes rewarded by 50-50 balls, the way the ball rolls, if it's going to go off of a post or not, if the wind is going to take it in certain moments, you are oftentimes rewarded in that situation. I will also say that, on the goal line stand, Marquise Buford probably dropped the pick 6 to make the game 21-0, and the game would have just ended. They probably wouldn't have even played the remainder of the 8 minutes left. It would have just ended because
we'd like to hop on the plane.
There's no chance. There's no chance. Nebraska can go 3 and out. They take 2 minutes off the clock 3 times. And that's it. The game is over.
2-Card Monty suggests building a statue to James Williams. Think he might be the coolest Nebraska story of the past 10 years. Well, 2-Card Monty.
Well, we're waiting to hear that story. I would love to hear that story. I don't know that story. We understand that James is really emotional and he's clearly been through something over the last couple of years of his life, and has a great bond with Coach Pot Roast. I want to hear that story. Maybe it's saved for Rinaldi on Big Noon Kickoff.
He got me Saturday with Sharpie.
Yeah.
Also,
I wish I knew that story, but what a performance by him. But his story will be told.
Chancellor Blood.
Chancellor Blood.
That's his title, right? Chancellor? Is he Chancellor of the university system?
Oh,
Dr. Blood.
Oh, Dr.
Gold.
Dr. Gold?
Dr. Gold. That's right. Sorry. Blood Week, Gold Chancellor. I don't know. Anyway.
I think he's the
president. Whatever.
Dr. Blood? That's his new name, Josh.
So Dr.
Chancellor Blood.
Dr. Blood's doing his radio interview.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I always listen to those every week because I'm always driving.
Yeah, it's terrible, but I get why.
No, it's fine.
I get why it's there. He said,
well, they do them live now. They never used to do them live.
I heard him say that a player had a situation with their family and a coach stepped up.
Yeah.
And I just kind of put two and two together and assumed.
I wonder if that's what that was about.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but
I'm not sure.
In the absence of actual information, I'm going to wildly speculate because I'm impatient.
That is a story. Yet to be told. Maybe.
Feels like a Mitch Sherman.
We're just pegging writers for stories now.
Hey, I told the people in the chat not to use that word.
Sorry, that's not what I meant. It's not what I meant. So yeah, that'll be we'll take your guys' calls, 402-951-1620. You can text into the show as well as we continue on. But once again, if there's a takeaway from the segment, it's that Nebraska won the game it played. Not in the like point blank period sense, not in the dry sense of like, yeah, of course they won. They won the game 14-7. But there was a whole bunch of factors in that game that made it a lot different from some of the other games, and they played that game. They weren't doing anything that they were doing for abstract reasons. It was just, let's play the play and let's play the game given the circumstances that we're in. That's a pretty good step for this program. I don't know what you guys think. That's kind of what Matt Rhule says every single day, every single time he talks. Play the plays, right? Play the game.
They finally listened to me when Ndamukong Suh says it sounds a lot cooler than when I say it.
And for the offense, it wasn't a good day. For Dylan Riley, it wasn't a good day. But they played the plays. They played the game. All right, we'll be back when we return on the other side. I want to hear from you guys. 402-951-1620. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. welcome back. Once again, no shave for today. If you're expecting that, sorry, you're going to get us. And you're going to get a caller here in just a second. Welcome back. We're the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Wanted to remind you first that if you are subscribed to 1620 The Email, that means week 5 of 25K 4-quarter pick'em is open. That email went out at 10.
Gotta opt in.
Get in there right now. Make your picks and get a piece of the $25,000 prize that we're giving away this year in honor of 1620 The Zone's 25th anniversary. And $2,500 a week. For people who aren't subscribed to the email, you can get your picks in tomorrow. Why does it matter if you get your picks in early? Well, they're just straight up picks. You can go 10-0. It's possible. In fact, in some cases, likely that we're going to have at least one person a week that is going to go 10-0. But the tiebreaker is whoever is in first. We're offering you cash, guys. So get interested, get in there right now, 1620thezone.com and sign up for the email and make your picks this week and make sure you get them in quickly. Let's take a phone call on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Here is Random Mike. Mike, good morning. How are you?
Morning. What did the Rutgers coach say about our D-line? Did he refer to him specifically?
Well, he said, I don't know if he said anything about the D-line. I know he mentioned that the conditions were unlike anything that he'd ever seen.
Oh, I thought he said something about our tackles or the D-line that was very complimentary.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure I didn't read the full quotes from Greg Schiano.
The way our defense has played the last 2 games, it's really fantastic, isn't it?
It is. If you're a Nebraska fan, yes, it is.
And then that really bodes well. And let me tell you something. If a problem with your team is Dylan Raiola, you don't have a problem. I mean, don't you agree? He's going to be fine.
100%. That is the least of my concerns.
And it kind of looked like he wasn't feeling so good. It just seemed kind of listless.
I think he got knocked down at one point, and then
that could be it.
And then he just didn't make some throws that if the decision making is quick enough, he makes them. Or maybe he was told, "Hey, look, like if there's any doubt, just don't make a mistake right here." I mean, there was a variety of different things there, I think.
Yeah, you got windy conditions that make it really tough to throw.
Yeah,
I mean, and he made some really nice throws in the first half. But I'm just guys that I think are really interesting. Liebentritt, those blocks he makes, and Matty Virzel is a huge fan of his. So isn't that great to see the affirmation with Lee and then putting Mazuka in? And hey, look, probably the most important plays of the game are 3rd or 4th and short near the goal line. And we haven't been good at that. And in this game against a team that was respected, we were a lot better.
Yep. They chose to, they've gotten a little creative in instances like that. The little wing back counter trap thing that they did that Janiron Bonner scored a touchdown on. I mean, that was pretty slick, man. That is a heck of a play call and a heck of a design in that situation.
Right.
So that's where they've chosen to go, instead of trying to force passes in there or do some sort of misdirection with like whatever it might be. They just said, we'll get creative with it. We can run it here.
But also getting physical in the I formation. With some great blocks by Liebentritt and getting Mazuka in there and your unbalanced line or whatever they're doing. And I remember Russell talking about that a play he thought would be fantastic is Liebentritt was establishing himself as a great blocker, and then he pretends he's going to block, and then he's wide open on a pass. And I think Illinois used that kind of stuff against us.
Yep.
But how about Bonner? How many carries does he have as a Husker? And to me, each one has been really impressive.
That's a good question. I'm not sure what the total is, but yeah,
not a lot.
It's always a surprise when he ends up getting the ball, but he's a Swiss Army knife, and they use him pretty well.
Exactly, he's a talented dude, and Carter Nelson, and there's so much talent there on offense, and I think we'll be fine. But I think in every game you can make an argument that we should have won him by at least 2 touchdowns. I mean, and that I think to me that's how good we're capable of. But my question is, and I think I mentioned this before, that I think we're so lucky to have Dylan Raiola, where when he committed, if you go back a month or 2 before that, you're thinking you got almost no chance of getting him. And then getting John Butler, where a few months before we got him, nobody would have thought that was possible. And I'm just thinking John Butler is playing a big role in maybe the adjustments the defense is making also. But I do hear anything about that, and looking how our corners and safeties are playing. I just think from everything I know, he's a sensational coach. And the reason we got him is he was upset that he didn't become the coordinator on a really good NFL team. I mean, think about that.
Yeah, it's Nebraska. I don't know if it's luck or whatever it is, but they walked into that one, and it certainly worked out for sure.
And don't you think it's an upgrade?
An upgrade? Hard to tell. I don't know. A lot of that is, I guess, a lot of that when you grade assistant coaches basically comes off of recruiting. I don't know if it's fair to say it's an upgrade, but it hasn't been a detriment. That's for sure.
I think Rhule did say it was an upgrade in terms of the coaching that's being done.
That's possible.
You mentioned recruiting.
Yeah.
But boy, can he be a great recruiter with his NFL, connections? So, I just think we're real fortunate, and things are looking real good in the future because the offense, and certainly Raiola, he's going to be just fine.
Thank you, Mike.
Take care.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Dylan Raiola's. I don't. By the way, I don't think anybody is sitting here like, hey, that Dylan guy. I mean, it's pretty bad game for him. I wonder what that's going to look like going forward. Nope. No concern. Seriously,
pretty mediocre, that freshman.
To answer Mike's random question of the day, Janiron Bonner is he has carried the ball 6 times in his Nebraska career.
Okay.
Twice this year, once for a touchdown, and 4 times last year, once for a touchdown. So that's pretty good carry to touchdown rate.
It is.
6 carries, 2 tutties, as the kids call them now.
Good memory for Mike to be just remember those 6 plays and be like, showed me flashes.
Yep. 6 carries. Like, people always do that thing where it's like, hey, they did that the one time. Why don't we just give it to him 700 times and just that it'll be the same result every single time? I think we saw that idea play out on Saturday where Nebraska really went to Emmett Johnson early in the game, and Dowdell actually ended up being your best back. So it just, for whatever reason, it feels like the second guy in for Nebraska, or in some cases the third guy. What a game for Ramir Johnson too. The third guy for Nebraska, the second guy for Nebraska at running back, ends up being the one who sort of has the splash plays in the game. I thought Dowdell was really good. He was the best back in the game, and I thought Ramir made some really great splash plays. Once again, talking about the creativity piece of this, just timing is so important. By the way, talking about the offense, people who are complaining about play calling and blah, 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 all this stuff, like, they got so creative on the touchdown, obviously, to Bonner. I thought the screen to Ramir Johnson, where they kind of flip it around and they fake a reverse, and then they ended up just slinging it sidearm in there to Ramir. And I mean, he runs about as fast as probably I've seen him run since that 2021 Michigan game. That's his game right there. That's getting guys involved in places where their skill set really, that situation really suits him. I think they're doing a pretty good job on offense. And people are just like, oh, well, they don't have 600 yards, so whatever. They didn't run it for 350. So
it's not fun to watch.
Whatever. I mean, it's not fun until they hit the 1 or 2 big. Like, you have to be comfortable with the idea that it's going to come down to 2, 3, 4, 5 offensive plays. Maybe there's a mistake in there and it ends up costing you the game. But Nebraska's going to bet on the fact that it has Dylan Raiola, and he's going to make the right decisions at the right times. And I think they did that late in the game on Saturday when you saw him not make a couple throws that he makes usually and has no problem doing so. And they're going to bank on their defense. Matt Rhule's been telling you this forever.
Yeah.
Since he's been here. And just now you can finally see the plan, I think. Raiola on Saturday, 13 of 27, 134 yards and a pick. The worst pick of his career.
Yeah.
Certainly. Didn't see the linebacker pop up.
Telegraphed it the whole way.
Yeah. I just don't think he ever saw that guy. He was going to duck down a little bit.
Like,
popped
up,
right
bam!
Yeah. Threw right to him. So, I don't know.
Omaha on YouTube.
Hi, Omaha.
The whole city.
Wow.
Stop.
Wow. Stop?
Stop.
Stop what in regards to what?
The Kool-Aid is flowing.
Nebraska's 5-1. The Kool-Aid should be flowing.
Nebraska got shut down in the second half.
They won. Did they win, Josh?
14. So let me do the math on that. 14 minus 7. Yes.
So people have problems with play calling, or whatever, shut down in the second half. Nebraska started their second half drives in the following yard lines: 2, 20, 3, and 29. Not that all of it is absolved, but like I said, I think you always look back and you see some things that could have been called or executed differently at different times. But remember, it's 14-0. Your defense is lights out. The wind is swirling around everywhere. And I am fine, and I think everybody else should be fine with the idea of not pushing the gas too much in a situation like that. This is what's killed Nebraska for years. Years. They've screwed up. I tweeted out during the game, I thought the game felt like it was 2021 Iowa a little bit. Nebraska got up 21-6 or 20-6. I think it was 21-6 in that game. And they had a block punt and made a couple turnovers on offense. And all of a sudden, Iowa's back in the game. They won it on a game-winning field goal. It was trending that way for a second. Nebraska just didn't make the mistake. That's what winning in this league is about. Everybody else who came in from the West Coast is about to find that out.
Many would say USC has learned that.
Maybe they figured it out already. Exactly. With the pick in the end zone there. It's about not messing it up. And if you could add a quarterback who could make plays without messing it up and without the fear of messing it up, then you got yourself a real formula. I am great with the idea of not pushing on the gas too much. Up 14-0 with swirling wind and an incredible defense in the third and fourth quarter of those games. 40% of Nebraska's plays were run on passing downs. Passing downs are 2nd and 8+ or third or fourth down with 5+ to go. 40% of Nebraska's total plays were run on passing downs. Nebraska had 26 first down plays. They ran it on 17 of them. They got 68 yards. Everyone knew you were going to do it, and you still did it. That's pretty solid first down success in my eyes. Right? You would have liked to see him extend drives a little bit more. That's about execution. You don't need to be pushing the ball down the field and trying to score touchdown like 60-yard touchdowns. Once again, most of them would have been 80-yard touchdowns, 90-yard touchdowns. We're talking about starting drives in the 2 and 3 yard line in the second half. It's like you just don't need to do that.
Baymon brings this up, and I've seen this other places as well this weekend. My biggest concern is how much they were throwing late.
How much they were throwing late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Once again, we've said this before. You could put stuff in the hands of the run game when everybody knows that you're going to do it. Try to pop one in the pass game a little bit, but in a safe way. Like eat both results of what you do, whether you throw it or pass it. They're probably going to be safe type of plays. If Nebraska uses the quick short passing game as an extension of the run game, like what does it matter? I'm once again, it's not all absolved. Like I said, sure,
right.
You like to see them running a little bit more. I think they were capable.
They're not a perfect team, but
they're not a perfect team.
They have found some ways to win. They know what works for them and what doesn't.
Yeah, well,
not always aesthetically pleasing.
This is the big takeaway. You can be good without being Ohio State.
Right.
I was going to say Alabama, but that's no longer. You can be good without being perfect. Nebraska is a flawed team. They're not good enough to beat X and X and X amount of teams. So what they've decided is we're not going to beat ourselves. How long have we been wishing and praying and hoping for it? I've dreamt about it for years. Nebraska's through 6 games of the season. They've turned the ball over 4 bleeping times. 4 times. In my wildest dreams, they've taken the ball away 10 times. They are pacing for a plus 10 turnover margin. At least. They were minus 17 last year. They turned it over 31 times.
What if we got in a time machine and went back to last year and told 2023 Connor Happer, hey, at the halfway point of next season, Nebraska football is going to only have turned the ball over 4 times. What would that man say?
Holy God. I would have lost it. I would have said, this is not real. I can't believe this is my life right now.
Said, oh, so Jeff Sims figured it out. No, not exactly.
All right. We'll jump back into all of that as we go on throughout the show. Of course, we want to hear from you guys. I got a tweet about the wind here that we can get to a little bit later on.
The wind.
We got Rhule's press conference coming up just a hair after noon. But first, it's the odd news with Josh. Next on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, Josh.
Connor.
I await the lovely odd news.
Oh, have we got some odd news for you today, Connor? Remember Wandale Robinson?
Yes, I do.
He, the Giants, the G-Men, they had themselves a big win yesterday. I forget who they were playing even. Seahawks?
That's right.
Okay. Hey, I nailed it. Look at me. One of the bigger upsets of week 5 with a win over the Seahawks on Sunday, but Giants head coach Brian Daboll was in no mood to celebrate. Giants wide receiver Wandale Robinson, who was a big factor in the game with the team's first touchdown, took to IG Live
As he does.
to broadcast him and his teammates celebrating their big victory. They get in there, they're in a circle, they're oohing, they're rahing, they're hooping and hollering. And then Brian Daboll is seen quickly behind them saying, "Stop posting that bleep."
Pretty funny. I saw the video. It was
Seconds
great.
later, Robinson turned the camera off.
Yeah.
and he said something as he's turning it off, like, "Oh yeah, yes, sir."
I don't get the IG live thing. And I say this as a person who has a 4-hour live stream every single day.
Mhm.
But you know, we're in a controlled environment.
Very.
It seems quite dangerous. I would understand. I understand Brian Daboll's concern with
Also,
the IG
I mean,
lives in the locker room after a win in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know who's walking around. I don't know in what state of undress they're in. I don't need to be broadcasting those types of things over the internet.
Nope. But Wandale does that all the time, though.
Mhm.
I actually follow Wandale on IG.
Oh wow, look at you,
Yeah, brag. I know.
Husker pilled.
I always liked him. He's a good kid.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But he
Hard
just
worker.
likes to go on IG live a little bit.
Some people do.
That's all.
Connor, you're a big N64 guy, if I remember right.
That is correct, Josh.
Okay.
Thank you for saying that.
Great take by you. The game Super Mario 64.
Yes.
Very popular.
I play that still.
Oh, I believe it is.
Once a year, I try to play it and get all 120 stars while I'm drunk.
Okay. Great way to spend one's time. So this story, some of the things I'm going to say in here will make sense to you. Bubzia, a Super Mario 64 speedrunner, on the internet, they try and play the game like as fast as possible. That's what speedrunner is.
Sure.
Did the game's 16-star challenge. Does that make sense to you?
I don't. Is that? I assume that's just the first 16 stars that like unlocks the rest of the map, or like
Sure.
Okay, I'll check on that, but keep going.
Did it in under 20 minutes while being blindfolded and unable to see the screen.
Wow. That is awesome.
It took Bubzia 118 days to complete the Nintendo game in under 20 minutes after previously setting the world record at 22 minutes and 23 seconds. He speed ran the game with the blindfold on in 19 minutes 43 seconds on his YouTube channel, posted October 2nd. So 5 days ago he did this. After 10 months of restless grinding, 118 days, streams of practice, runs, and more, the most ambitious goal in blindfolded Super Mario 64 has finally been broken. Bubzia wrote in his description of the video.
I can't imagine beating Bowser, like any version of the Bowsers, with my eyes closed.
Yeah, it seems really difficult.
Yeah.
Bubzia then promised to break the 70-star record next. Other members of the...
With his eyes closed?
With blindfolded? Sure, I assume so. Other members of the Super Mario 64 community commented on Bubzia's video to congratulate him.
Thank you, Bubzia.
This will be going down as one of the most important moments in Mario 64 speedrunning, if not speedrunning as a whole, one person said.
No kidding.
Wow, congrats, Bubzia. Your dedication and determination is truly awe-inspiring.
I will admit that I played that game so much that on one of the first levels, you could probably I could have probably done a specific thing with my eyes closed, but not what they're suggesting, obviously. But it would just feel so natural. It's like, here's where you go, here's what you do. You go across the bridge, then you go around, and you got to fight the little wonk bonk or whatever that guy is. He's attached to the chain. If you want to get him off the chain, then you could, slam his thing down. I love that game. I love that game. It's still so much fun.
I feel like I could probably speed run with some degree of accuracy the original Super Mario, like the 8-bit Nintendo. I could probably figure that out with a little bit of time.
So I haven't tried speed running, but I do play this game, still occasionally. It's probably been a few years now. It's hard. Like I have to look at the guidebook sometimes. Like how do I actually do this? How do I unlock this part? This is when you get later into the game. But it's not like a terribly hard game to beat, But there are stars that are really hard to get on Mario 64. And you don't know unless you know and remember. So sometimes you have to look at what other people are saying online.
Sal asks on the YouTube stream, Sal, real person, real takes. What are some of your favorite N64 games, Connor?
Well, Mario 64, Mario Kart, All-Star Baseball 2000.
These are good takes. GoldenEye?
Blitz.
Oh, Blitz.
I wasn't a huge GoldenEye guy.
Really?
I would go over to my friends and they would have GoldenEye.
I was really bad at it, but I enjoyed it.
Glover.
Oh, haven't heard that name in ages.
Did you play Glover?
No, but I'm familiar.
Glover, you were just a glove and you just walked around and you had a little ball with you and you kicked the little ball around.
Smash Brothers?
Super Smash Bros. I never really got into it until I was in college.
Okay.
That's what people did that's what people do when they're in college. Pokemon Stadium is a good one.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's probably more. I could come up with a list if given time.
And then this was a story that happened this weekend, sent to us by I want to get the name right here. Scott.
Yes, Scott.
Out of Bakersfield.
Scott in Bakersfield.
No, the story took place in Bakersfield. I believe Scott is local.
Local Scott.
There was drama in the sky over Bakersfield Friday afternoon as a small plane, its pilot in distress, was diverted to Meadows Field and successfully landed by its one and only passenger. Interesting. The Beech C-90 B King Air, a twin-engine turboprop, was headed from Henderson, Nevada to Monterey when the unidentified pilot suddenly lost consciousness, leaving the lone passenger, a non-pilot, to land the plane himself. It happened around 1 p.m. Friday. The pilot experienced some kind of medical event and passed out. The unidentified passenger was forced to take the controls. Coached from the ground by experienced pilots, at this point we don't know who or from what vantage point, the passenger turned back towards Bakersfield, which the plane had apparently passed on the way to its Northern California destination. One of the first orders.
Interesting.
Yeah. One of the first orders of business, once the plane was successfully turned around, was getting the landing gear down. How would a nincompoop know how to do that? The passenger flying the plane understandably didn't know how to do that, but the coaching was good, as Kern County Airport's director Ron Brewster described it. I would say that the passenger did an outstanding job getting the aircraft down safely. He was a passenger with knowledge, but no pilot certificate. The pilot was transported to the hospital, and we don't have the disposition of his condition yet.
But that plane landed, and the guy who was not having a medical episode was okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't have a comment on that story, Josh.
You have no opinion on this story.
Even though that's the exact scenario that I have laid out for people. And now it's actually happened in real life.
Yet again.
Nobody's landing a 747. All right.
Why would you say you could?
767, A3000. Nobody's landing any of those. Why would you say you could? Too many buttons in there. Small, easy to control plane with help from the ground. It's like you're not even flying at that point. It's not even a hot take, Josh. So thank you to Scott. I saw that he tweeted. I didn't read into the story, but thank you for bringing it to my attention on the odd news. Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor, and thank you, Scott.
We will take a break. We'll come back. Matt Rhule's Monday press conference during the bye week. Thank you, Matt. Coming up on 1620 The Zone.
He does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back. Matt Rhule will have his Monday press conference at 12:15 today, which will give us the opportunity to tell you this and discuss it.
Tell him. Talk to him, Connor.
Well, they'll have to tell Gus Johnson we're going to Columbus and then put him in a blindfold and then say, actually, you're going to have to do Nebraska and Indiana.
What?
That's right. Big noon kickoff in Bloomington not this coming Saturday, next Saturday, October 19th. I love analytics. I love Indiana and Nebraska.
Tell him.
Gus Johnson never dreamed that he would do a game such as this, but now his hands are tied because the Hoosiers are ranked. The Huskers are receiving votes. Maybe they'll be ranked next week. Who knows?
27.
Maybe you get bumped because you don't play. Everybody else around you just crumbles.
God willing.
That is right. Nebraska and Indiana set for big noon kickoff 12 days from today. Oh, baby. That is awesome. That is a big game, Josh. That is a big game. What's gonna be his nickname for Dylon? Something involving a car, sports car of some sort. And by the way, Indiana has a bye this week as well. That's 6-0 Indiana. That's bowl eligible Indiana.
Who could hand them their first loss? Who? I ask you, who?
Gosh, this is amazing. I cannot wait to see a look ahead line for this or a line when it pops up. Nebraska's almost certainly going to be an underdog.
Someone needs to shut Kurt Signetti up.
Somebody needs to shut that guy up. Absolutely, 100%. But don't you like the position that Nebraska's going there with? Like the general. Why they show Alex Gordon highlights on MLB Network? Don't you like how they're headed there, Josh?
You can definitely say it's you against the world. It's you against the world.
You know why everybody's watching that game? For Indiana. They want to see what Indiana's all about.
Yeah. I've heard.
Isn't that amazing? Who would have thought? Before the season, we were talking about, hey, well, Nebraska, probably going to be looking to go 7-0 going into that game, or, coming out of that game and going to Columbus the next week. And, they'll probably be ranked and, like that. That's going to be a big game for Nebraska. A lot of pressure on Nebraska. That might be a slip up game. That's a little scary. It's actually that way for Indiana. This is incredible. What great theater we have 12 days from today.
Oh, but Connor, they're only on Big Noon Kickoff because the slate is so bad.
Who cares?
Well, is that true, first of all?
It's a terrible slate in the Big Ten that week.
Oh, dang it. Let's take a peek here real quick. I haven't seen the rest of the Big Ten schedule. That all comes out at the same time. I guess I could just look.
What about Oregon, Purdue Friday night? UCLA at Rutgers, Wisconsin at Northwestern, Michigan at Illinois, USC at Maryland, Iowa at Michigan State. Any of those doing anything for you?
Michigan, Illinois? That I don't know.
That's a CBS game.
No, you're right, Josh. It's garbage.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So yes, 2:30 is Michigan, Illinois that week. 3:00 FS1, USC, Maryland. Big Ten Saturday night on NBC. Iowa and Michigan State that weekend. Nebraska will kick off at 11 a.m. along with the likes of UCLA and Rutgers and Wisconsin Northwestern on the BTN. And then Friday night, Oregon and Purdue. So that means, by the way, for you Jayskers out there, we are 1 week away from finding out about the kickoff time, the all-important kickoff time for Nebraska and Ohio State.
As a guy running a radio station and scheduling things,
we need it to be Gus Johnson.
I really need this.
Maserati Marv. We need that.
Put it on FS1 at 11. I don't care what network it's on. Just put it at 11.
So there are other potential big noon games if they're not interested in taking Nebraska 2 weeks in a row that weekend. Illinois goes to Oregon, but that's unlikely because it's a West Coast game. So that's probably going to be your nighttime fun. Penn State, Wisconsin is an option. We got a very interesting Wisconsin Rutgers situation this weekend. I'm intrigued. And hell, if Indiana's still undefeated, they'll host Washington. They go back to Bloomington 2 weeks in a row. Michigan State's that weekend. It's competitive. So it's very important, very, very important that Nebraska wins in 12 days. Very important.
Win, damn it.
Yeah. And at the same time, the network will almost always take Ohio State when they get the opportunity. It's the personal preference of one Gus Johnson. But I don't think that's why. It's probably because it gets pretty good TV ratings and they're good.
Your Gus Johnson is really good.
I like doing it. So I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
I can't wait to hear Jackie Barney and Isaiah
Barney.
Isaiah Neor, says Joel on
So
Twitter.
which one did he screw up so bad last year? Bo Richter.
That's right.
Here's Bo Richter.
Hutchmaker coming around the end.
Bo Richter. I like this guy. Remember was the last time Nebraska had Gus at Colorado last year when he was absolutely smoking Jeff Sims on the air? He was like, they got to get this guy out of the game. They got to take him out. This is a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the last time. I don't think they had a big dude in the rest of the season. Tom writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Tom.
Isn't it way better to be a big noon kickoff on a trash week than not be on big noon kickoff in a trash week?
You're damn right.
It is. And we don't apologize for wins, Tom. That's exactly correct. Chris writes in on the email inbox.
Hi, Chris.
Equitable Banking inbox. Not to discount Indiana's schedule so far, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. They haven't played anyone remotely good yet. Yes, some have described their opponents so far as trash cans. I mean, at least they didn't poop down their leg against UCLA or Northwestern like Nebraska did against Illinois, but come on. Indiana has to have the 6 weakest games of any team this season so far.
Who had the stat today?
That might be true. That might be true. They haven't played Jack yet, but sometimes it doesn't matter if you're good, or if you're just like artificially good. If you're confident enough, and they got the stupid idiot coach who loves talking, Google me, I win.
From the brain of Michael Severe.
Hello, Michael's brain.
Nebraska's strength of schedule for the first half of the season is 102. The remaining strength of schedule is 6th.
What about Indiana's?
Their first half strength of schedule is 108.
Oh, worse.
Their remaining strength of schedule, 27.
Interesting. What will become of Indiana? Cannot wait until everyone realizes that they're a pumpkin. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I saw some...
Nebraska's going to go a long way in trying to prove that theory.
I saw some rumblings on Saturday. Vanderbilt was chanting, "We want Indy."
They're sick and disgusting over there. Twisted.
Gross.
But they beat Alabama. They're
did.
allowed to have their fun. That's for sure. Okay, Matt Rhule is coming up on the other side. It's his Monday press conference. Even during a bye week, we'll hear what he had to think about the Rutgers game and his efficient use of the wind. Brian Buschini's day. Maybe we'll shed light on the James Williams story. Probably not, though. They'll probably say, I'll leave that to him.
That's his story to tell, guys.
It's his story to tell. That's going to happen, certainly, in the press conference. Any other guesses for what Matt Rhule is going to say? This is actually a fun game.
His time with Ndamukong Suh.
Oh, yeah. You know, Ndamukong really didn't say anything, but people just like staring at him a lot. I think they're kind of scared of him. I am. He'll say that.
Dylan knows him from his time in Detroit.
That's his nephew, right? His nephew, one of those situations.
Yeah.
All right, back after this on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. All right, it's 12:15, Matt. Chop, chop. We're on your time now. He'll say a lot of things about Brian Buschini today, would be my guess. People will ask, man, what's that?
It's one of the gutsier performances I've ever seen.
It was. He was awesome.
It really was.
That was awesome. That 69-yard punt that he just absolutely bombed, and the little kiss of wind just carried it and spiraled it
Nice.
all the way down. That basically won Nebraska the game. That turned the table all the way in Nebraska's favor.
Iced it.
And then a 30-yard pass. So Nebraska used the new practice field outside of the Osborne Legacy Complex to practice that fake punt at halftime.
This is great boots on the ground journalism.
This is so Josh, during the postgame show, he said his dad texted him. He's like, watch out for that. And then it was reported after the game. So people saw this, and word got back pretty quickly. It's like Nebraska was practicing this at halftime, and then they did it. How about that? Who should we be thanking for this? Bill Moose. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill, for building that brand new practice facility and having easy access to it. Building that little tunnel that gets you from the facility to the stadium in short order to Nebraska's locker room. Bang, you walk out, and you're right there on the practice field. It's just steps away. If Nebraska wanted to do that at halftime of a previous game, they would have had to walk all the way across the bridge.
Probably not going to happen.
Upstairs, across a bridge, and then down the stairs again onto the practice field. There's not enough time for that.
No.
Now, they would have been able to do it in the comfort of their own humble abode. If that was the case, there would have been nobody watching them because there's a roof over their previously existing practice field at the Hawks Championship Center. But now we get to know about things like this, which is nice. All right, so Matt Rhule's coming up here in just a second. So Buschini got his first punt blocked, and I thought he died. He was spun in 7 different ways and bent in half.
Landed on his head somehow.
Then I was like, is this guy going to punt? Camden Cook's warming up. I'm like, geez, it's over. Then his second punt ended up being the line drive that ended up going 61 yards. Then he got it blocked again. Then he got a punt off in the back of the end zone that I briefly wondered in real life, should they just take the safety here? Seriously, it crossed my mind because I thought for sure it was getting blocked. Got it off.
Standing in his own end zone with a broken back.
Then he downed one at the 5, and then he tossed a 30-yard pass to Jalen Lloyd in which he should have scored. And then he punted again from the end zone and got it out to the 50, and then he smashed a 69-yard punt that basically turned the tables all the way in Nebraska's favor.
Nice.
What a day for the Buschini man. What a story, too.
Had the crowd going like this with the Italian hands.
They were booing him. They were Buschiniing him. I heard when Sue came out of the tunnel, they were suing him. Sue. We love when a person's name starts with some letter and then ooh.
It has the ooh sound.
Whole question, Josh?
Sure.
Do we love when somebody's name starts with I guess it would be a consonant, right? You started with a consonant, and then the next sound is ooh.
Consonant. Missed it.
Constant, not consonant.
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 And follows with
and it's
the
followed by
ooh
the
sound.
ooh sound. I think that's a great poll question. Because we do. Boo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Buschini. And Ndamukong Suh. What are some others that we've had? We've had some Lukes over the years.
I believe it's the Steelers. They have Friar Muth, and
Friar
everybody goes
moo. They moo at each other. All that. We love that.
Yeah.
This is not just a Nebraska thing. This is the American public.
Yes.
We love it. Yeah, we're still waiting on Matt Rhule. Oh, good one. Rude.
Thank you, Max.
Yeah, Dave says, just to complete that poll question, it contains the ooh sound.
Ooh sound. It is up at Happer Show. Do we love when somebody's name starts with a consonant and follows with the ooh sound?
That is the perfect poll question to send us into the the press conference whenever it happens.
Where is it?
It's up. Do we have something,
I
Josh?
got it.
All right, Matt Rhule stepping up to the podium in Lincoln right now. Here he is.
Well, hold on.
Here he's not.
Well, hold on. Okay. Do it now.
Here he is. Matt Rhule.
Team on the bye week.
We did our normal Monday. We replaced the afternoon meetings with study hall, so guys can get not caught up, but get a good jump academic. Someone's phone.
My God.
Still recording. We'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then we'll give everybody off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come back to work Monday.
So far this season, in the turnover department, only one fumble loss. Just what have you thought of the ball security, the intentionality of guys on offense?
Yeah, I think we're second in the Big Ten right now in turnover margin. Right? I forget what the number is nationally. I just went through it with the team, so it's a good example of putting your mind to something and getting it done. And we won the turnover battle again this past game, so it's every game but one. One game we tied, all the rest of them we've won. So,
oh my God! Stop it! What is going on?
So whoever doesn't have a case, someone doesn't have a case. That's up to me. But I think it's been months and months of work, and it's also just I think sometimes we think we were working on it last year, and while it wasn't coming to fruition, I still think the work we did last year, the work we did this offseason, the work we did in training camp has helped. And it's just the guys. The guys are protecting the football. They're running violently, but still have great ball security. So it's been a good thing.
That was one of the three areas I think of emphasis that we've seen in that chasing through that turnover margin. And then being the most physical team and the culture of execution. As you think over the first half of the season, it's a good sort of dividing point of 6 games. How do you feel like you've scored in those other 2 areas?
Yeah, I think it's a work in progress. I think we've been a very physical team. I think Illinois, I didn't feel like we were the more physical team. I felt like we were looking at the scoreboard instead of just playing the next play. I'm just worried about winning, which ultimately comes from me. So I thought I think we've been a very physical team. We have a long way to go, to be the team that we want to be. And then culture of execution, the penalties, I think like going into last game, we were 124 out of 134 in terms of most penalized teams. On the flip side, though, if you look at our games, we've had 47 penalties thrown against us. We've had 47 penalties thrown against our opponent. So they've been highly, highly penalty-filled games, if that makes sense. So it's not like, we're just getting destroyed by, we have 11 and they have 3, right? But that's something I'd like to see us improve. I've talked a lot to the guys about improving. And really, when I talk about penalties, I'm talking about pre-snap penalties, and I'm talking about which we eliminated last game, and I'm talking about for the most part, and then 15-yard personal fouls and the things that happened in Illinois, right, that aided all the scores. So I think we've improved in that area, but there's certainly things we have to work on, things we have to get better at. We know that, So special teams, special teams is kind of a tale of two things, right? You have in the last 2 games, 5 or 6 balls put down inside the 10, punts down, that land inside the 10. You fake a field goal, you tackle them on a fake punt. So we fake a punt, they fake a field goal, we stop them. But then you have, 2 block field goals the week before. Obviously, you have 2 block punts. To ever have 2 block punts and not lose the game is almost impossible. And credit to Nate Borkacher, the play he made on that blocked punt. He runs the guy down, tackles him at the 2, and then we're able to have this epic goal line stand. So I think that's one area. I think our run game offensively is not where it needs to be. We're not hitting the home run plays. We're getting out and getting 12 yards, and then So I think there's just a lot of things. That's a long answer. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of very specific things that I think we have to work on, and we're doing a good job of self-scouting ourselves right now just to see, hey, what are the best things that we do.
Sam Papa gave you some good snaps Saturday. As you hit the second half of the season, is there some strategy that goes into where certain guys might fit, where they could play one of their 4 games?
Yeah. This was a targeted decision. Hey, he's going to play in this game. He's physical run stopper. Was excellent on the goal line, so he fit into this game. I think with all the guys, we look at them, some have 1 game left, some have 2 games left. Some guys haven't played yet. They have 4. And so, we're utilizing it. So I think every guy's a little different, but yeah, I think, the way we build the team is to redshirt the guys who can redshirt and let them develop and play them the right amount. James Williams is out there, has a big game statistically, right? And it's like, well, we made the decision, a hard decision, but the right decision last year to redshirt him down the stretch. And now you see a much, much, much more developed player in my mind.
Matt, how would you assess your quarterback play so far? And how pleased are you with that position?
I think he's been great. Yeah, I think he's had some wow moments. I think he gets us in the right checks. I think he protects the football. We had the 1 interception on the RPO this week. That's as well coached a defense as you can see. They're physical, and the win. The win was hard early in the game, and so I think there was some really good lessons. But we knew in that game the best way to win that game was for us to get up and make them play differently, make them play a way they didn't want to play, and so Dylan and the guys led us to two touchdown drives, and it's hard. It was really hard. With 3 of the 5 drives in the second half started inside the 5. It was hard to get into a rhythm. No, that's not an excuse. We have to get into a rhythm that way. Don't make no mistake. But I thought that was part of it. But I think Dylan's the guy that the guys on offense look to. We can continue to help him with improved run game, guys getting open, and I think he'll get better and better and better every week.
Back to the run game for a second. You mentioned there was that play that came out, I think, where you guys kind of went with a power play, and it looked like it could go for 95 yards, and it was just 12. Is there a teaching moment there for Dowdell and for your other backs on how to make that one last guy miss?
Yes, I'm sorry. So if you go back through that game, whether it's throw a screen to Thomas early and they tackle him low, we throw the ball to Jalen. We didn't just call that thinking we're going to get a first down. We're thinking that's a touchdown. Okay, and he gets tackled low with one hand. Dante, and yet you go back to the Illinois game. Our defense was struggling. Our offense just up and every time they scored, we answered. Guys made plays, right? So, I'm not a hey, just do your job guy. I'm a hey, do your job and then go make a play. And so part of that is, not getting tackled. And we've gotten tackled low a lot through the first 6 games. And so it's a unique balance in that we didn't tackle great the last 2 weeks at the level I wanted us to. So we went live versus scout team on defense on Tuesday and Wednesday. We tackled to the ground. And, it's easier to do because, you're doing the tackling. You're probably not going to get hurt. And we tackled much better. After the first 2 drives, we tackled much better in the game than we ever have this year. On offense, it's hard to say, hey, go tackle these guys, right? Go in there and hit Fidoni at the ankles, go in there and hit, Emmett at the ankles. So you're trying to always do it in drills, and it's just not manifesting itself at the level I want it to. So part of that's me, right? Part of that's us coming up with a strategy and practice. In that play, Dante stiff arms him, and he kind of stiff arms him, and we need to stiff arm him. So the week before, Washington made all those safeties miss and had 207 yards rushing. I also know, though, when you face a team led by a good head coach, if they give up a ton of yards rushing, they're not giving up a ton of yards the next week. You better be ready. And so, they played really well on defense. But that's a major area for us is those 12-yard runs have to start being 50-yard runs.
What do you see it right? Just his continued in play. I mean, what is he giving you, and how do you manage that? Maybe if Tommy Hill is back in the lineup in Indiana.
Yeah, well, Sierra's done an excellent job, and he's competitive. He's tough. He's smart. He's helped us on special teams. He made that play on the back fade of the goal line. Where he reached back and went and made a play. Kind of going back to what we were just talking about. The goal line stands weren't great calls by Tony. They were good calls by Tony with guys making great plays, right? Giff has the tight end man-to-man. He's ineligible, so he just runs right through and hits him, right? Just Sierra picking a ball off, knocking the ball down, just elite focus. So Sierra's really helped us, during this time with Tommy. As they come back, I think it's probably too early. We obviously are always talking about, hey, what can we do? How can we help ourselves? But, I'm not sure that I'm ready to know that yet. But we hope to get Tommy back. And, we thought he was going to play in that game up until kickoff, as he was running out, just couldn't quite go. But again, we have Sierra, so it's not like we're forcing Tommy to come back too early, right? We want him to come back and be healthy. So hopefully Tommy can have a good week of practice, and then between those three guys, we'll rotate them around.
What specifically did you see on those block punts, and how determined do you see guys within that operation to get that fix coming out in the second half of the season?
Yeah, the first one, I'll say I usually won't say who it was, but I'll say, Gift just blocked the wrong guy. I say that because I don't think anyone here would question his determination. It's not any of those things. It's, they brought the gunner in. He just missed it. Right. And then they had a couple of long runs. He came over to me. He's like, I got it. I messed up. I got it. And the second one, we personal protector just didn't make the block. So, they challenged you in every regard. And, again, if I could go back, I wish I'd have faked the punt the first one, because we knew they were going to do that. And we knew the corners were just going to sit there. We knew we were going to be able to throw it. It was a little challenging to say, hey, let's go throw it in that wind with our punter, but I believed in Brian. And I wish you guys could have seen, one of the best things I've ever seen is, this kid gets hurt. He can't even move. He's out there on the little practice mini field, that little AstroTurf field out there at halftime. And he's throwing just to see, can I get my back loosened up to go throw? Cause we're going to throw the throw. And, just found a way to get it done. So I think all the guys recognize that, hey, this has to improve. But it's also my job to show them, like, hey, we have to eliminate the catastrophic things, because there are other things are all like, they're all trending in the right direction, right? Like our kickoff coverage is improved. Like they just, obviously they fair caught them. Like, our kickoff return didn't have many opportunities, obviously, for that. And, punt rush, we had a chance. We got close to blocking one, and Bushini again flipping the field. That last punt was as big a play as I've been a part of. And again, him faking that punt, they then didn't come after us again after that, right? So that was as big a play as that was. It flipped the field. Then the next punt, he puts the ball down at the 5, and then they never really rushed us again. Because that last punt, I was scared to death that they were going to come through. They're sending one more guy than you have a blocker for. At the end of the day, like, your punter's got to get it off. And, the fake punt slowed them down maybe a little bit.
Did he have a hot call there where when he saw it, he could throw it again?
No, we weren't doing that. We were just calling it. Yeah, because we had to adjust the protection to make sure no one goes down the field, right? So in the NFL, it's a little easier to do that because they have to go. They can't go until the ball's kicked. But in college, you can go right away. So we had a full fake on. So
how rare is it for teams not to cover gunners like that, just to let those guys run free?
It's an old Frank Beamer, Virginia Tech. They used to rush the punt and leave the corners off at 9 yards. They just stood there and they watched. These guys are doing it at 5 yards, and they're as well coached a team. I'm in no way saying that. I'm just saying, like, not many people have a punter with an arm like ours does. He can throw, and so. A lot of people wouldn't throw a 22-yard honey hole shot, right? Like, that's hard to do. But thankfully, Bruce Sheedy's probably got one of the better arms on the team. To be quite honest, he's really good at this stuff. And we had Johnny Hecker at Carolina, who's epic for this stuff. So we have a couple of these things that Ed has, and it worked.
Could Tristan still be available coming out of the second half? And are there any other injury updates?
Yeah, I think Tristan's going to begin potentially begin the process of testing and seeing where he's at, and whatever that means in terms of when he's comfortable, healthy. So there's that. There's Tommy, right? Tommy was trending closer. Like I said, we was up until kickoff. We thought he was going to go. So it's just a day by day thing with him. Yeah, Bly Hill. We had him up ready to go, but we didn't play him, right? Because Sierra played so well. So to me, you're looking at a guy who's got 4 open games in the next 6 games. So pending a bomb going off, you could probably play him in 4 games. And you've got like Amari Sanders has a game left. You've got Larry Tarver has 2 games left. So a bunch of these young players who are developing and getting better and better and better, they have some opportunities here. So, if Bly wants to play, so if Tommy can't go or if Sierra were to get hurt, Bly would be right there. But Jeremiah Charles has done a good job stepping in as needed. You think about it, you're out there, and he's really the 5th corner 2 weeks ago, and now he's the 3rd corner. And so with Tommy out, so it's with Tommy and Bly out, so it's a credit to him.
I know that Heinrich Harper gets onto the field about 5 or 6 times a game. This is a question I get a lot of why he's not used more. Like, can you speak to that? Just I think fans really enjoy watching him play, but he doesn't get a ton of carries or things like that. What's the challenge of trying to get him into the game and also get the ball in the game?
Yeah. I'll say this. I think he needs to play more. So let me start there, right? Like, so I don't disagree when the fan says that. The challenge is like, you know, you have a lot of good players on offense. Like, it's also like the offense also has to be saying like, hey, get Jacory the ball 9 times. Hey, throw the fade to Nayor. Hey, why isn't Fedoni catching it 5 times? Hey, you know, I mean, they have all those things. Right? Them like, hey, Banks, like, get him 8 catches. Hey, you know, so they have that for me. Hey, why hasn't Carter Nelson touched the ball yet today, guys? Hey, hand the ball to Janirin on the reverse. So we have a lot of players like that I want to see touch the football. If you think about what's happening on the perimeter, if we can just get our run game up to about 180 yards a game, you know, between the tackles, and this is not a shot. This is nothing. This is just all of us, right? The O-line, throw the RPO when it's there when they blitz, guy making somebody miss. If we can just improve that number, I think the overall thing will happen. But I think part of it is we spent so much time with Heinrich getting him ready to be the second quarterback that, you know, because I mean he's a play away, right? So I think that's maybe delayed it a little bit. But no, I don't disagree. But I also will say that, you know, the offensive staff hears me say that about Fedoni every day. They hear me say that about all these guys every day.
I know we'll get into Indiana next week, but what do you make of their start? And that's a big noon kickoff.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm not surprised by it. Let me say that. I mean, the team they had at James Madison, I mean, was an excellent team. And the world's changed. You know, you come somewhere now, and a lot of your good players come with you, right? So they brought over a lot of guys who know how to win. They have a great coaching staff. And you know, the Signetti family, if you're from where I'm from, that's a legendary coaching family. They, you know, Coach Signetti Sr. was as good as there was. And, you know, both brothers are excellent. You know, Kurt's a great coach. He's turned every place around that he's been. And, you know, 2 years ago, they had a pretty good team, or 3 years ago. It's not like Indiana's been in the gutter for them. I mean, they've had good seasons. And he comes in with swagger. He's got a really good quarterback transferred in. They brought some good players. They had some good players that were already there. They've got great wideouts, and they're rolling, right? They're following his demeanor, and they play with a lot of confidence and swagger. And so it's great. Again, it goes back to what I said all training camp of looking at the schedule before the season and saying what games are easy and what games are hard is not true. And it's not the way of college football anymore. Everyone's got to get that in. Like how many teams lost to teams that you would have never thought Alabama would ever lose to Vandy. You never would have thought maybe USC would lose to Minnesota. The portal transfers, and it's changed all of it. That's why there's no undefeated NFL teams, right? So, you know, it used to be that a player would say, man, I got offered from, you know, whomever, Ohio State. I'm going there, you know. But now he might get offered, I might get offered from Blue Mountain State, let's just say. And that's the top school in the country. And they're offering, hey, we'll give you, you know, X amount of money. And another school that is 2 pegs lower on the pecking order of recruiting will say, hey, we'll give you 3 times that. Because for this guy, he's their 15th best recruit. But for them, they're like, well, we can't get those guys. Let's get him. So now that kid's like, do I go there for $50,000 or I do go there for $250,000? So all of a sudden so why were the great teams of the 90s and 2010s, why were they so dominant? They stacked up all the talent. And when guys got hurt, the next guy came in was also a Parade All-American. Now the Parade All-Americans are all spreading out a little bit more. So it's just different. So the days of, you know, it's just different now. So I think Indiana's a tremendous example of that. It's a completely different roster this year than it was next year. You know, you guys got stuck with me. You know, like I said, I didn't get to bring anybody with me. You know, I love Bryant, but he can't play. You know, they didn't let me bring McCaffrey. They didn't let me bring Brian Burns. So, you know, we came in here and we just been building with the guys that were here and trying to recruit, just kind of a little more the old school way. But you know what? Like people that are moving now, it's just a different world. So we all have to just adjust to it.
Not part of that different world. Have you, with the 4-game redshirt and transfer trend that's kind of going on, have you had to have some conversations last few weeks with guys who are thinking about leaving, or has it been pretty?
Yeah, I've had no one say, hey, I'm thinking about leaving. Can I redshirt? My main conversations with most guys are like, I'm normally the one saying, hey, you should redshirt. Like, I just don't believe that playing for guys, if they're not playing, like Jacory should redshirt. He's playing. But if you're playing 8 plays a game as a freshman or playing 50 plays a game as a senior, like look at Ty Robinson. Like look at how dominant Ty is right now. And was he that way last year? Was he that way the year before? He was good. He's gotten better every year. And that extra year for Ty now, he's doing things. So I believe in redshirting. I believe in the old school process. So, but it takes parents who trust you, it takes players who trust you. And at the same time, if a player says to me, Coach, it just isn't right for me, I want to transfer. I'm not going to throw him off the team. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not my way. Right. So anyway, I haven't had anybody come to me and say, hey, I want to do this or anything like that. Like, I haven't had that.
Ty playing 61 snaps on a day like that. Is that worthy of praise, or is it something you just expect from him?
Yeah, I think it's worthy of praise. Yeah, I try to keep that. I'd like that number to be like in the 40s and 45. But like, again, it was a little different because there's some subtle things in that game. Like like Tony got out of his comfort zone and he played 3 different personnel packages. Right, like he took the jack off the field and played with 3 true linebackers to play the 3 down stuff. Then he played with 2 jack with a big package, right, and just said, hey, we're not going to let you run the ball. Then he played with the base package. And what it allowed us to do was get us to where we had a lead. And now, to me, playing 60 plays when you're pass rushing at the end of the game is a lot different than 60 plays of, here comes power, ISO. So getting the lead and then letting Ty pass rush. But Ty's in great shape and he practices hard. And that was the number one thing last year with Ty. I'd always talk about, like, because we didn't have him in the offseason. He had that shoulder surgery. I was always like, if you got to get into great shape and play hard. Like, you can't play hard 15 snaps a game, and Ty's running all over creation out there. So, yeah, I think playing 61 plays is a credit to him.
5-1 record. How do you feel about the second half of the season and achieving the goals that you guys set out at the beginning?
Yeah, well, I didn't set any goals out. I literally mean that. Like, I just want to be relevant, and so I think at least we're relevant. I still wake up at night upset we lost to Illinois. That's God's honest truth. After we win, I'm happy for 20 minutes, and I'm like, okay, let's get ready for what's next. I'm proud of our players, though. That's the important message. I'm proud of the work. I'm proud of the lack of distractions. I'm proud of the selflessness. I'm proud of the growth. I'm proud of, I'm not sad about it, but we lose Teddy, then we lose Turner, and now Gunner's out there and he's battling, right? We lose Tommy, who's, one of the top players in the country, and all of a sudden Sierra's battling. I'm proud of Marquise Buford, like, just every week so I'm proud of a lot of those things. As it relates to the second half of the season, it's the same to me as the first. Like, after Illinois, I could just feel our team. I could feel our coaching staff. We have to win this game. We have to win this game. And I just enjoyed this game better, where the guys just wanted to play. And so I'm going to do my best to go 1-0 every week. Even the bye week, I'm going to try to be great this week on the bye week. And some of that's rest. Some of that's getting away. Some of that's practicing the heck out of the young guys. But that's really all I look at.
You say 2 days of tackling last week. How rare is that for you?
Yeah, I haven't ever really done that. Now my teams at Temple and my teams at Baylor, I hate to talk about the past, like, they would have come out on Tuesday and maybe tackled okay, thudded okay, and then on Wednesday I'd have shown them the bad plays and they'd have gone out there and they'd have tackled. They'd have been like, they had an edge to them. And we really hadn't gotten that back yet last 2 weeks. Like, we were better, I thought, against Purdue. But Monungai's a really good back. That's a really good back now. And so, to me, the game's easy when it comes down to tackling. Like, I give them all like one. I mean, hey, we're going to have to tackle. I told the defense, you're going to have to win third down. Rutgers gets in a lot of third downs. I think it was between third and fourth down. It was just epic how well they did. The offense, I said, hey, the key for you guys is just score touchdowns in the red zone. This is top 10 red zone defense. We were there twice. We scored touchdowns twice, right? It might be a reverse sweep to Janier, and it might be a old school power play, but we got in the end zone. Special teams, I just told them, steal a possession. Now, we stole a possession with the fake. Now, I didn't think we were going to get 2 punts blocked, but we stole a possession. So it was all those things, but part of that was tackling. But when I was at Penn State, every Tuesday, our defense tackled the scout team. And so I just said, we might have to tackle. We might have to get ourselves. And then they played as well. And the great message to our guys is they put a little bit more in, and they got a lot more out. Okay, so I don't know if you're going to do that every week, but if you're struggling tackling, we need to tackle more. We obviously need to do more punt protection. We obviously need, so it's just kind of that thought process.
Coach, after the game, James Williams was very emotional about how far he's come athletically and personally. How much have you noticed that, and how much of a ceiling does he have here?
I think, in terms of he can be whatever he wants to be. And I made the point in there, like I said it here, he was on the scout team last week. Like, this was like a, hey, this is going to be a big James Williams week. This was like, get Riley Van Poppel and Sua and get the big guys in there. Let's get ready to go. And so he wants to, he wants to play. So he goes over to the scout team when Terrence sends him over, and he gets good reps, gets the good, good tackles and works. And all of a sudden it shows up in the game. I just know James. I know his heart. I know who he is as a person. He's a really, 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 really wonderful young man. We had the D-line at our house 2 weeks ago, and my kids love him. My dogs love him. Like, he's just got that kind of a heart, and I think everyone rallies around him. So he made some plays. But what I liked was, I'm not big on all the hey, look at me stuff, right? Like, I'm kind of old school that way. I loved after his one sack. I always like to watch a TV copy. He's pointing at Jamari, thanking him. Because Jamari did an excellent job on, getting up the field so he could come up and under. And so to me, it's not, it's selfless. And I think Terrence has done an amazing job in that room of building a brotherhood, a camaraderie where they all root for each other. So I'm proud of James a lot. He's doing well in school. He's doing well socially. He's a really good dude.
Will you be able to recruit on the bye week, or how will you manage? I know you only get the 33 days. I know. Will you be able to use much this week?
Yeah, we won't do much this week. We might go see one guy here, one guy there. We've been sending some guys out along the way. We're going to use the second bye week as the big recruiting week. I think this week, to me, this started in July. We started training camp in July, so it's July into August. You look at most Big Ten teams; they didn't go 6 in a row like we did. Some did, but not many. So I really want the coaches and staff, players to work, and then just take a little time to refresh, come back, take them one, and then we'll play 3 games, and then we'll have a bye week. And then that bye week, we'll go recruit, and we'll use up the rest of our days. But yeah, to your point, the change in the schedules made it a little bit harder. And then, there's no December recruiting now. So really, most of the days I'm going to try to use them for my days, So we'll try to get out next week.
It was before the Purdue game, you did sort of the one-on-one drill before the game, then you did it again against Rutgers. And it strikes me that, last year after the Michigan game is when you guys had sort of a change moment. It feels like the Illinois game was that similar, even though it wasn't 45-7, but are there similarities to that Michigan moment, to this Illinois moment, and how you changed as a coach? And maybe button pushing is the wrong word, but change maybe an approach or something?
No, I'm a button pusher. There's no doubt. That's my job. There's no doubt. I described it to the players today as the whack-a-mole game, right? Last year it was turnovers, and then you fix turnovers, boom, and all of a sudden penalties show up. Now you're penalties. Now it's field goal block, boom, and then the punt block. And it's at some point you're trying to. But again, as the years go on, those things get less. The lessons are learned. The lessons I'm talking about or Tony's talking about start being happening amongst the guys. And when people refer to culture, that's really what it is. I think we're unbelievably physical in spring and in training camp. It's just there's a natural inclination for people as the season goes on. You literally have full-time people. Mitch comes up to me, hey, we should be careful player load, and you naturally want to cut back. And to play great defense, you have to practice great defense. To play great defense, you have to practice great defense. And so, we practiced hard the Illinois week. Don't get me wrong. I just think, again, we're learning how to do things. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois, and they came out the next week against Purdue, and they looked like they were on a mission. So I remember watching that, and then that's kind of what happens to teams. We still have a lot of things to figure out about ourselves. Last year after Michigan, it was I will not tolerate quitting. That's all that message was. It was you can lose. We don't want to lose, but people are not spending their money to come to a game and watch us lay down. That is just not happening. And we certainly didn't quit against Illinois. I just think against Illinois it was, again, kind of that, hey, get to the moment. It's a little tight. We've had 2 7-point games in the fourth quarter the last 2 weeks, right? And now I know Purdue, whatever, but it's 2 7-point games. I didn't think in either game our guys panicked. I thought they played to the end of the game. So hopefully we're making some progress in that area.
I know we kind of make a big deal about pregame, but what is the thinking with that?
There is no thinking. It's just it's so much of this is just passion and energy and excitement, and so it's hey, we're gonna come together and we're gonna just celebrate each other. And the guys, our team really, really, really revolves around certain guys, right? So when Roman Mangini goes out there, and he went against Hartzog, right? He was a starter. That wasn't and those 2 guys battle out there. It just lights your team up a little bit. So we might not do it next week. Who knows? Who knows what we'll do? But it's just something that just seemed to make sense, right? I think so much of this thing is getting out of your head and going from your heart. And it just felt like at Purdue, maybe we needed that, just not needed it, but did it. But the I don't know if I told you the whole onus of it, the whole origination of it came from when I used to work for one of my mentors, George DeLeon. He would talk about over the years playing in Nebraska. And when you played Nebraska, he said, I don't know if this is true. People say I'm a lot full of it, but this is what he told me. He said, like, the O-line would line up and they'd put like the D-line or the linebackers and they would like run into him and then the O-line would hit them. And like, as the other team was running out, he said half the time you lost the game. Maybe Phil Snow's like, you lost the game before you even played them. You know, you just came out and you saw the physicality of Nebraska and the pipeline and you were like, it's going to be a long day. So we were at Temple at the time. We said, all right, well, we're going to do Oklahoma drill at the 45-yard line. And I still have coaches will say it to me like, then we got to Baylor and the kids were like, we're not doing that, coach. We don't want to do that. Let's do pat and go and we'll get open. And so we stopped doing it and just, I don't know, I was fired up for the Purdue game. I was like, hey, give me 2 guys. And then it was cool this week. 3 guys came running out. I said, give me an O-lineman. 3 guys came running out. So it's just, I don't know. It's not much to it. Not much to it. Just a way to celebrate being physical.
Michael was that offensive line that went out there. Did that please you? And how'd you feel like you played in the limited snaps yet?
I was pleased when they all came out, right? I mean, the Canuck, the hardest thing is when one guy won't leave and then you have to referee it. I was like, oh, just someone please walk away. But no, I was happy for Micah. He wanted to get in there. He played. He was the jumbo tight end. He caved that edge down. Micah played the way he's capable of playing, right? And so Micah can be whatever he wants to be. He's like everyone else, just has to stay focused day by day. And but he really helped us in those crucial. We went for a 4th and 1 on our own 30-yard line, right, or 35-yard line the first drive. We were 3 for 3 on 4th down when you count the fake punt. So that was not a game we were coming here to play it conservatively. And so I think him and Lindemeyer, Borkacher, those guys running the power play, Liebentritt. So happy for Micah. Hopefully we can build on it this week. All good. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach. Blue Mountain State, Honey Hole. What else?
Big package.
Big package.
There was a line before that I'm not going to say.
What?
Well, you had to get the linebacker, the jack off into the field.
Different personnel groupings, Josh.
Yeah, we're just talking personnel groupings. That's it.
So let's go through it here and then we'll just take a break and get straight to Sam theoretically after that.
Theoretically.
So I have some bullet points. We've gotten tackled a lot. So they went live on Tuesday and Wednesday and they tackled to the ground. And then basically he mentioned that. And then he was asked about the physicality drill that they did before the Purdue game. And he was like, not necessarily. Sam said, oh, no, button pushing is the wrong word. And Matt goes,
No,
I'm a button pusher. He is. We've talked about this.
We have
a
a
lot.
promo running that has Michael Severe saying the exact thing.
I like that he says, oh yeah, no, I'm pushing buttons.
No, it's fine.
It's just a thing that we do. Just a celebration of passion, energy, and excitement. He said, they need to continue some of the things that they're doing in the first half. And he says he still wakes up a little upset that they lost to Illinois.
Typical coach.
Me too.
Just.
Said the run game offensively is not where it needs to be. And then the comment maybe that is going to end up being the talking point going forward. Classic. Heinrich Haarberg. He's back. He's back. He needs to play more. But the challenge is, of course, that you have other good players. So what's the role for Heinrich Haarberg? Welcome back to August, everybody. What's the role for Heinrich Haarberg? What he's saying is, I want there to be more of a role. I think he's a good football player. And he says he's spending too much time being the backup quarterback. Do things that get him on the field. Maybe we'll see an adjustment in that in the second half of the season. Or not.
What does he mean by that?
Or he'll remain the backup quarterback.
Like we have to protect him because he's the backup quarterback, or
no? I think he's literally spending his practice time being the backup quarterback, like running the twos
instead of practicing some of the gadget plays. Okay,
exactly.
Okay.
Instead of practicing the things that would get him on the field during the game.
I follow now.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll see if we can get a hold of Sam McKewon. It's a very quick turnaround for Sam, so no guarantees. If not, I have I'll give you that stat. That Sam really gave us the impetus to. So, wanted to come on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Here's a question I have for you all as we welcome you back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com.
The Royal Y'all?
Y'all, yeah. You all? Well, I guess before I ask the question, I'd like to remind you that you can go to Vallis Pumpkin Patch, and you should. It's the bye week.
But it's a great slate.
And if you missed your chance in last week's half-off deal, you can go to 1620thezone.com. It's an online-only contest for Vallis Pumpkin Patch, which has many awesome things. I intend to take the family, of which I have, to Vallis Pumpkin Patch at some point this week.
This week, okay.
Yes, I don't know if they know about this.
Maybe
but
not Saturday.
Yeah, that seems hard.
Yeah.
That seems hard. Some point this week.
Friday afternoon.
It's an intention, okay? And you can do the same. Head to 1620thezone.com and get your chance to score free passes. Free passes. Online only deal.
Whoa.
1620thezone.com. Okay, here's my question. Why do people like talking about Heinrich Harburg and his role so much? Why is this seem to be like so important to everybody? People love talking about this, Josh.
I think it's two things.
I can't figure it out.
I think it is America loves the backup quarterback. Even when your starting quarterback is a 5-star quarterback who appears to be living up to the bill.
Why do we love Heinrich?
Also,
I think Heinrich is great, and we appreciate the work that he did last year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have an understanding that it wasn't what he brought to the table last year wasn't good quarterback play in the conventional sense.
That's correct.
Okay. So let's think back to November of last year. We wanted to send him off with the, off into the abyss.
I believe the other part is the in-state guy, hard worker, lunch pail, Nebraska work ethic. We like that. We want to see that succeed because we want to see ourselves succeed, Connor.
If I had to guess,
I have a guess.
It's that people get really obsessed with gadget plays.
Because when they work, you're the genius.
How many plays is he playing a game? Just anecdotally on average right now. I don't have the number in front of me. Is it
2?
Yeah, like slightly over 1.
Yeah.
He came in, he was a decoy on Saturday in an I formation. Like, cool, eye candy. Like, woo, what's he going to do out there? Are they going to throw it to him and he's going to throw it back to somebody else and he's going to throw it? Like, there's a lot of options, but the only reason plays like that work is because they are exactly what they are. They are curveballs. And he came in he had the double pass in the Illinois game, right, where he threw it back. And then Rhule ended up hitting, I think it was Barney, like 15, 20 yards down the field. We just get obsessed with these ideas for whatever reason. I like that he's an option for them, but Rhule talking about how he needs to play them. He'd like to see him on the field more. I don't know if he wants him to be a regular, like, rotational player that they use in conventional ways, or if he's saying that they want to do weird stuff more. Right? Those are two.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure what he's talking about, I guess.
I'm never sure what he's talking about.
There's no doubt about it that it's that people like talking about it. People just love talking about Heinrich Harburg and his role, as evidenced by the comments in the YouTube page right now, which are about very normal things, as always. And our phone lines immediately lit up when we start talking about Heinrich Harburg.
He equals ratings.
He really does. Hey, I'm like a guy from Mad Men. Say what you want about Harburg, but he rates. Here's Don on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Hey, Don, what's up?
Hey, I think Coach was just having some nice speak there about the guy. My opinion, hey, thanks for what you did last year. We got better players at every spot. If we're putting you on the field, we're in trouble. Have a good day.
Thank you, Don. Thanks for the call.
Succinct.
Like there is a medium. It doesn't have to be just like, oh, we have Dylan. We don't need this guy. Goodbye. Right? It doesn't have to be that.
I think Nevada would love your services.
Like thanks for trying. No, we don't have to do that.
I hear Illinois State is lovely this time of year.
It doesn't have to be that. Venmo Chris says because HH. I love how people call him H. I remember all these things from the summer now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time since August. Because HH is a Nebraska boy.
Mm-hmm. We see a little of ourselves in him, Connor.
Joe says because they threw him a wheel route at Purdue and he drew a PI. People forget.
That is important.
It's, for whatever reason, this is like the in the oasis or the desert, I suppose, of topics. He is the oasis. It's like a picture of there's desert, there's the oasis, but instead of the lake, it's Heinrich Harburg's face. There's your meme for the day, Josh.
All right.
Desert of topics. Just kidding. Take some Heinrich Harburg. Here you go. Dave says the only person more popular than the backup quarterback is an in-state backup quarterback who can run the dadgum ball. Do we have examples of Heinrich Harburg running the dadgum ball?
Compared to Dylan,
I guess
he
it's
can run the ball.
So if there's one thing, it's like, and I could see it from both sides. If Nebraska is in third and short situations, what do you want to do? You want to keep the quarterback in because he's got he's first of all really, really good. His name is Dylan Raiola. And he's got
5-star.
All this experience in the game. Like he has this feel. He doesn't have to worry about like getting warm or anything. You put the ball in his hands. Or do we either take him off the field or add Heinrich Harburg to the equation where there's I actually think they're playing him like the appropriate amount. I love him as a curveball. I love him as
something you got to waste your time during the week prepping for.
Like Nebraska has its fastball, they have its curveball, they have their changeup, they have their slider, and they have something else. And like, if you feel like you can get to the point where you have a sixth pitch and it's Heinrich Harburg and they can throw that pitch pretty well, then it's just going to make you a better player. Like, I'm good with that. I'm fine with the amount he's playing right now. I don't know about anybody else. But Rhule wants to play. I mean, Rhule said it. Rhule is like, I agree with you, fans. And now it's just like bringing them out of the woodwork. They're back, folks.
See, my thinking is the same as the coaches. So I must be right.
Mustache Adam has a question.
Hello, Mustache.
Who is Nebraska's Splinker? Maybe Heinrich Harburg is because Mr. Skeens goes to the Splinker quite often, right? Like Seth Lugo has 9 pitches. What's the 9th pitch? That's Heinrich Harburg. And that's okay. That's good. If you could throw all 9 pitches well, then awesome.
It's a wrinkle.
Aiden writes in.
Hi, Aiden.
Can Harburg even run? He was bad against Power 5 competition running last year and has been terrible in his opportunities this year. Why this is a discussion is insane.
But he's so willing.
We love a guy who's willing. I'm not, I don't know. I'm not sure why it's a discussion. I think we need to play. I want to go. Actually, you know what? I really want to go back now and I will listen to that quote over again because I want to figure out what he's talking about. Like, is he talking about doing more gadget plays, or is he talking about working him in the regular offense, or neither, or both? I don't know what he's trying to say.
7 carries for 33 yards this season for HH.
It's that many? He has 7 carries? That's actually a surprisingly high number.
He is 8 for 8 passing, 69 yards.
This year? I don't think that's right. I guess he's coming in backup situations. Yeah. So most of that is as the backup quarterback. I wonder if you did the split of what his stats are as the backup quarterback, like the quarterback, compared to what he is as a gadget, curveball guy, splinker guy. I wonder what his stats are there.
One
it
catch
can't be
for
that.
8 yards.
It can't be that prolific. Yeah, he is a catch. That's fine. If you feel like you can mix him in there, and I feel like if you did it anymore, it would be forced.
Yeah,
Don't you think?
I would say so.
Don't you? If they start all of a sudden they started having like more things for him to do, or he appears more in games, I'd be like, yeah, I just kind of feel like we're forcing
Okay,
this.
we got to run the obligatory 2 HH plays a quarter. Like, what are we doing?
Rhule does like throwing out the red meat to the people, though. There's no doubt about it.
He wants to be liked. That's why he shouted out Blue Mountain State.
Yeah, he really didn't like talking about other programs, too, because he was about to say something that
about
was
to say,
blasphemous
like,
to somebody.
Northwestern really sucks.
Venmo Chris writes in.
Hi, Venmo.
You think the quarterback room hears and reads the post about HH and just laughs about it? No, I think they genuinely like Heinrich Harburg.
Yeah, I don't think they're stuffing him in lockers.
No. But maybe you look at him as like, why is this the thing that we're so focused on? Chris in Montana says,
hello, Chris.
Think maybe Rhule told Heinrich that he was going to be a big part of the offense at times, and he feels slightly guilty that he hasn't used him as much as promised. It's possible.
Well, a lot of the time you haven't needed the big gadget play to kind of get you out of trouble.
Yeah, like, and would you go to a gadget play to get you, like, a gadget or a trick, quote unquote, is something that you do when you feel like you're about to maybe stomp, situationally, of course, maybe stomp somebody out.
Oh, okay.
Nebraska did a fake punt up 14-0.
That's true.
Stomp them out.
I generally think of it as, man, we can't move the ball at all.
Yeah.
Let's try this bit of trickeration to see if we
Or
can.
maybe it's neither. Maybe it's
something
somewhere in between.
Usually is.
Jason says, I think HH deserves a lot more playing time. Signed, definitely not HH or his family. Jesse has an idea. How about this? Put in Harburg, Raiola, and Kalen.
Oh.
Danny gets the snap when Raiola back. Nebraska has enough problems just doing normal offense. Danny gets the snap when Raiola backs up 35 yards. Danny throws a ball backwards to Raiola. Then Raiola throws a 90-yard pass to Harburg. So basically, it's like in baseball practice, like a cutoff line, a relay. You just throw it all the way back and then wait for Dylan Raiola to throw it 90 yards the other way. Great idea. I like it. On a serious note, text from the 402 says Rhule there said they were busy preparing him as a backup quarterback one play away. Well, it sounds like he wants to do less of that and more of the other stuff that actually gets him on the field.
Send him my way.
Alex says, can we get a graphic of Gramstad stuffing HH into a locker? Probably not. Aiden follows up and says, if Rhule actually wanted to play Harburg more, he would actually play him more.
That tends
he
to
is
be
in
where I'm
charge
at.
of it, kind of.
Yeah. Nothing I can do.
Here is Senator John Thune Sucks Nuts.
Hey,
that's what the Twitter handle is.
That's his name.
Does sitting down Dylan for a few possessions and allowing Mr. H to run the ball a few times hurt us that much? We've seen him bust big runs before, and in my opinion, might have been something that could have put Rutgers away early in the third quarter. Maybe a surprise pass also. Yeah, but I think it's that, like, at the most. It's situational.
Yeah, I don't want to have to do something like I have to get HH in for 6 plays.
Right.
Like,
if you feel like the situation dictates him coming in and for a series or for a series of plays that aren't an entire series, maybe 4 or something like that, great, do it. You have this is the bonus of having a backup quarterback as experienced as Heinrich Harburg is. But if the situation doesn't dictate that on any given game, then don't. I don't think Matt Rhule should feel bad about not playing.
Right. I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree. Do you think a second half, let me play devil's advocate on this though. Second half of Rutgers where the offense is a little constipated, do you think that's a time to put in HH and get things moving again?
If I'm backed up against the wall, I don't know. I'd probably rather the general sense is I'd rather lean on the people that got, all right, go make a play, Dylan Raiola.
Hey, 5-star. Go be a 5-star.
Also, we don't have to push it that much. I mean, use the trick play where he came in against Illinois and threw the pass. That was almost a complete disaster. Nebraska had no business trying anything like that in that particular game because Rutgers was just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for Nebraska to score up until ultimately it got too late and then they had to start throwing the ball around.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore. We don't screw it up for ourselves anymore.
That's right. All right, more thoughts from you guys. Einer Carberg, talk of the bye week and off seasons everywhere.
Hell yeah.
We are back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, one more. So we got this a couple times over the break. Tom writes in on Twitter.
Hello, Tom.
Once we get to UCLA, aka the last 4 games of the year. Then Daniel Kalen becomes the backup because then he could play in all of the games
and keep the red shirt that we so desperately covet for him.
Once that happens, it will be, as Tom says, HH City. Options, reverses, kicking field goals, rushing the passer. Just get him on the field and let him play football. We got a similar text on the text line from the 712.
712.
I promise the last 4 games of the year, Danny will be QB2 and HH will be playing tight end again.
Huh. I guess that is possible. I don't.
It's just like, what if you're like, all right, we need to play Heinrich 20 play. Like, how? What are we talking about here?
Once again,
are we
I'm
talking,
asking
Nebraska's
the
just
fan
going to be
base what you want.
Nebraska's just going to be doing plays with, like, Nebraska's offense is just options and trick plays now. The thing that makes them different, and like they're basically trying to be Iowa, and the thing that makes them way better and cooler and more unique than them is that they have awesome quarterback play, and they're like, let's do options, and let's do options and throwback passes. No. Don't you think if Nebraska if they became like a 10% options and Heinrich Harburg plays, they would maybe turn the ball over a little bit more? Probably.
What if
Don't you think there's going to be
more...
in situations where they're up like 14-0 again and they want to just kind of sit on the lead like they've done in the last 2 games? Maybe.
I just really respect Mike Leach, so I thought I'd run out there and do some crazy bleep. Matt Rhule postgame.
So that kind of is a good lead into this. So Sam wrote in his rewind today, and let me actually read you the stat that he gave us. And by the way, it was too close to the press conference, so it makes sense.
Totally understand.
All right. Key stat. He goes through a few key stats after every game. One of the stats this week is 20, the number 20. That's 20 sacks for Nebraska this year, which ranks 5th nationally and 1st in the Big Ten, just ahead of Indiana. Coupled with 10 takeaways, Nebraska is on pace for its internal goal of 40 sacks and 20 takeaways. That's basically an on pace for stat, right? You're 6 games through.
Sure.
You've sacked the quarterback 20 times. You've taken 10 footballs away on defense. You multiply it by 2. It's 40 and 20. The last Husker defense to do that was the 2009 crew, and just 16 power conference defenses did it over the last 3 seasons. Not only Nebraska's defense is limiting big plays, which is just, they have just 3 of 30 yards or more, but Tony White's crew is also making aggressive plays. So I looked it up for you all. Let's use these baseline stats. 40 sacks, 20 takeaways, and then pair that along with what Nebraska is doing right now, which is only 4 giveaways, 4 turnovers, 3 picks, and a fumble. So let's just say, to make them flat numbers,
God, that fumble was in the first game.
40 sacks, 20 plus takeaways, and 10 or less giveaways in a season. That would be, first of all, astounding. I have doubts as to whether Nebraska can get there just because of what the schedule looks like the rest of the way and how it toughens up. However, with that being said, Nebraska is doing something interesting this year, which is they are not only getting sacks against bad teams, right? Like, it's not like they're just stacking them up in bad games. Although they did have 6 against Colorado and 5 against Purdue, but they've sort of spread it out. 2 sacks against UTEP, 1 sack against Northern Iowa, 2 sacks against Illinois, and 4 sacks this week against Rutgers. It's pretty consistently good for 3 to 5 sacks a game. That's pretty much the story with Nebraska's defense this year. So that makes you think that it's repeatable. It's consistent. You could do it game in and game out rather than just get 8 sacks in one game and then 1 in the next. So here's the stat that I looked up. First of all, Nebraska's only forced 10 turnovers. Only 12 teams in the country have more. 40 sacks, 20 takeaways, 10 turnovers. They've only have 4 so far. That is a winning formula in this conference. It's been proven time and time again. In fact, Since 2021, so this is over the last 3 seasons, not including the first half of this one, and so 21, 22, 23. Only one Big Ten team has accomplished all 3 of those criteria. That's 14 teams, 3 years. All right. Only one has accomplished all 3 of those. 40 sacks, 20 plus takeaways, less than 10 turnovers or less. That is Penn State last year. That team went 10-2 in the regular season. Also, since 2021, only 3 Big Ten teams have accomplished 2 out of those three criteria in the same season. Those 3 teams were Penn State the year before. They went 10-2 in 2022. 2023 Michigan, which I don't know if you heard, they won the national championship.
I have heard. I do remember this.
They were also 1 sack shy of all 3 criteria, fitting all 3 criteria. So might as well just put them in that top one. And here I think is the most noteworthy one because it's the team most similarly built to Nebraska. 2021 Michigan State. That team went 10-2. They had Kenneth Walker. They had Jaden Reed. They made a couple special teams plays. They had a good defense, and they didn't turn the ball over. That Michigan State team in 2021 had 43 sacks. They turned the ball over 17 times.
Whoa.
And they grabbed 20 takeaways on defense. That team went 10-2. Nebraska's trending for all 3 right now.
Hello.
And once again, this is coming off last year where they turned the ball over 31 times and only got 14 takeaways. Nebraska's already got 10. Right? Mm-hmm. So we were talking about before the season about turnover margin. Oh my goodness, they got to get the turnover margin right. Is it possible that they could take that thing from minus 17, once again, minus 17 to positive in some way, shape, or form?
What did we dream about in the offseason? Plus 10?
Well,
was that our big, like, oh my gosh, if they could do plus 10?
Yeah, if they could do plus 10, they're probably going to win like 10 games.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think any differently about that right now. And guess what? They're trending that way, and they're 5-1 at the halfway mark. So you want a little slice of Kool-Aid? That's it. Nebraska has its warts. They have their warts. They have problems.
Special teams are a tire fire.
But here's the point that I need to continue to make, and you guys have to understand this. So you have problems with them winning 14-7 against Rutgers. They're 5-1, right? Every team around Nebraska's sphere of influence, let's call it, right? The not Ohio States of the world, not Tennessee, not Alabama. I know those 2 teams just lost.
Vanderbilt, Arkansas of the world.
No, I'm talking about the teams that recruit in the elite category.
Okay.
All right. Everybody else, basically starting at team number 10 in the country and going down to number 40, 45, whatever, they are in Nebraska's zone. And the difference is how it works in terms of the schedule and how it works out in terms of quote unquote luck, which is not actually luck. It's just turnover margin, right? It's just turnover margin.
That's right.
How does it work out for you on a game to game basis? Are you capable of protecting a lead? Are you capable of winning games by not screwing up? Iowa has proven this over and over and over again for years and years and years. And Iowa doesn't even show up on any of these lists. They never, in the last 3 years, which each have been, I believe, 10-win Iowa teams, or at least 9-win Iowa teams, in each of the last 3 years, they haven't hit 2 out of the 3 criteria that I'm talking about. In fact, last year, a year where they won 10 games, they didn't hit even 1 of the criteria. But they always go positive in the turnover margin. I guess they didn't last year. They had 22 turnovers last year and they had 15 takeaways. That team is an anomaly, by the way. But it's about not screwing up. And so Nebraska is the same as so many teams in the country who are right on that back end of the top 25, and somehow at the end of the season you look up and it's like, oh my God, they won 10 games. How'd they do that? They only beat Rutgers by 7. They only beat Indiana by 2. They lost to Illinois at home. They only beat UTEP by 33, like whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the season, that team has won 9 or 10 games. They're on pace for it. I'm sorry to break you the news. Sorry to bring you the Kool-Aid on this fine day, but you guys need to hear this. They have done everything that they thought they would do through 6. If you look at the 6 games in totality,
Macro.
I would even say that it has gone better than anticipated.
Yeah.
From a statistical standpoint, right? And for how it projects for the rest of the year. If you can keep this up. Now, is there reason to believe that they will take steps back on some of these and they won't accomplish all 3 of those criteria? Of course, the schedule gets more difficult, this and like all these things ever. But even if you hit 2 out of the 3, chances are you're going to be in a position to win 8, 9, 10 games. I think Nebraska, look, is Dylan Raiola going to have a game where he throws 4 picks? No, he's just not. He's not.
I would be.
He's safe with the football.
I'd be staggered.
He is specifically coached to not make mistakes, and he's somehow been able to not make mistakes, and in a grand scale, right? He's been able to not make mistakes and still keep some of the explosiveness at the same time. In Nebraska's defense, they've gotten themselves some turnovers. They've won the turnover margin in every game but one. Or they tied. I don't know.
Couple comments.
It's going pretty well, Josh.
Couple comments and a question that I want to ask you.
Okay.
Travis on YouTube asks, Connor, will all bets be off if we stomp out Sig's Indiana team?
Let's see. That's a tough question.
Because if you do it for USC, like there's not enough season left to go, all bets are off if you beat USC.
Yeah, it's a tough question.
Yeah.
Because then the question is, can they win 3 out of their last 4? Right? Assuming a win, if you're giving me a win against Indiana and a loss to Ohio State,
presumably,
you have 4 games left: USC, UCLA, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Can you win 3 out of those?
Today, I would tell you yes.
That's a tough ask.
It is.
All bets are off seems strong at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chance on YouTube. Speaking of sacks, Rourke for Indiana has only been sacked in 1 game. Maryland, sacked 3 times.
Trash can schedule.
Only game that Rourke has thrown picks, Maryland. He threw 2. I like Tony's chances to create havoc.
Oh, I think they'll have something for him. With a bye week under his belt, and Nebraska is the underdog with feeling a little disrespected, maybe.
They don't believe in you. You're Nebraska.
Yeah. They wrote you off after you lost to Illinois at home.
Yeah. A very spicy chasing 3 if Nebraska wins. And my question to you, Connor, do you think they will win 10 games?
I do not.
I do not either. Okay.
But I think 9's available.
Ooh, hello.
I think 9's out there for you.
Nice.
And I predicted 8 at the season, so I expect them to get 8. So back to our conversation from last week about being happy about can't we just be happy about going to a bowl? No! God, no! Are you kidding me? Are you guys serious? Why would I ever be happy about that? They're 1 win away. It's October 7th.
Detroit Poop Bowl's open.
Today is October 7th. If Nebraska only wins 1 more game from now until November 30th, that is a disaster.
We are going to hate our lives.
Yes, that is a disaster. And don't think it'd be anything else. So I'd like to reopen that conversation for any takers. Don't argue with me on this anymore. There's no argument. It's a disaster if they only win 1 more football game. Dylan Raiola is their quarterback.
I would agree.
They have only turned the ball over 4 times all year. Okay. If you would have given me that formula at the beginning of the year and said Nebraska's already 5-1 and say, oh, they win 6, I would have said, nope, that sucks.
6 is a marker. It's a checkpoint.
If I would have given you they are on pace for 8 not just interceptions, 8 turnovers the entire year.
Oh.
If you told me at the beginning of the year, you said Nebraska's going to turn the ball over, period, 8 times, the entire season, I'd say Nebraska's winning 10 games.
10 games, yeah.
Okay. Just want to get on the same page. That's all. Should we get to the polls?
I think we should.
We'll tell you what to watch on the other side of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Two notes on today's baseball gatherings.
Baseball.
Game 2 between the Tigers and the Guardians from Cleveland at 3:08. It is October, Josh, as we previously mentioned, and Nebraska has 5 football wins.
I've heard this.
You know what
Early October.
You know what that means? Jabba Chamberlain knows it well. The Midges have arrived in Cleveland.
No.
The Midges. Not the other non-PC thing that you call
There was no T
some
in
people.
what Connor just said.
The Midges. The Midges have arrived. to Cleveland.
Put Tariq Skubal in a bubble.
So Jabba has chimed in on what Tariq Skubal should do. Grab some dryer sheets or vinegar. Ha, 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 he says.
Now, can that be ruled as a substance? Like they do substance checks.
That's
now.
a good question. They'll probably check their hands for vinegar.
Yeah. I'll put it on my ears. Is that okay?
That's one of the most hilarious storylines of all time. Bugs ruined a playoff game. Incredible stuff.
Now, is that a time of the year thing
I believe
or a
it is.
temperature thing?
I believe it is a time of the year thing, considering the atmospheric and weather conditions.
Okay, because I don't know if it's 90 every day in Cleveland like it is here. It might never get cold again.
It's cloudy in Cleveland. It does look a lot like that night when Jabba was eaten alive by the midges.
Oh, God.
Note number 2 on the other baseball occurrence.
Mm-hmm. Royals-Yankees blood feud.
This is the game of Cole Reagan's life. This is it. This is why this is why Cole Reagans was put on planet Earth today. He had a great game 1 in Baltimore, but now the boys are down 0-1 in the series. And if you go down 0-2 in the series and the Yankees beat the ace of the Royals, game 3 feels a lot different in Kansas City. I don't want to have that type of game 3. I want to have a game 3 where it's all on the line. And Seth Lugo's
possible.
on the mound.
Yeah.
I don't want game 2. It's a funeral and let's just get this over with so we can go home.
Mm-hmm.
No. This is it. Cole Reagans has got to be the better guy today. He's got to be better than Carlos Rodon.
So give me some Bobby Bombs. Yeah. I would take Bobby Bomb singular as well.
Bobby Bomb. Bobby Bomb. It's anybody. Any bomb. By the way, Rhule talked about a bomb going off today as well. It was another thing he mentioned.
Are bombs back?
He said, I think he was talking about Heinrich, right? He was like, hopefully a bomb doesn't go off. Something like that. Rhule had a lot of good one-liners.
Do you think maybe he just talks about that so we talk about it? And he's like, hi. And now they're not talking about our less than stellar second half performance against Rutgers and only winning 14-7. Now they're all talking about QB2.
You think? Look, there it is, Josh. One of the midges.
It's on the camera.
It's on the camera. Okay. I like that thought process. Maybe. He's like, let me give him something else to talk about. Here, I'm going to start talking about Heinrich Harburg at this press conference.
I'm going to talk about big packages and linebacker jacks.
To the polls at Happer Show. Just 2 today. 2 good ones, though. Does Casey's have the loosest slots?
I don't know why. That tickles me just right. Yeah, I think I do.
Sure. 61% say yes.
Always somebody playing them.
And also, do we love when somebody's name starts with a consonant and follows with the ooh sound?
A chef's kiss poll from us.
Yes, we do. 89% agree.
That's about the figure I thought it would be.
Those are the polls, Josh. What are we watching today?
We're watching ALDS Para Game 2s, Tigers and Guards. Guards up 1-0, 3 o'clock start on TBS, True TV, and Max. Same networks for Royals Yankees tonight. Yanks up 1-0, 6:30 start time there. There is Monday Night Football in Kansas City as well. So busy, terrible night for Kansas City sports fans.
Now, was that purposeful? Like, did they avoid a gigantic disaster?
The Royals very well could have hosted an ALDS game tonight, right?
Correct. They would have won their division.
It could have happened.
Yeah.
7:15 started.
Also,
Arrowhead.
who decided that the NL games would get the day off today and that the AL games would get the day off yesterday?
I don't know.
Who decided that?
It was
because
decided a long time ago.
It saved a disaster. Interesting.
ESPN2 and 1620 The Zone and 1290 over there on Coil for the Chiefs broadcast. Your Manning cast tonight. Your guests include, of course, Bill Belichick, your first quarter guest all year long. I'm sure you knew that, Connor. Paul Rudd will be in the middle there.
Not Paul Rudd, right?
No,
okay.
That's correct. And Archie Manning, how'd they get him?
Oh.
Saints fans, New Orleans has announced they're wearing the Color Rush faux backs tonight.
What's that mean?
The black helmet is coming out.
Okay.
Tonight for the Saints.
All right.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, a Menendez brothers crime series debuted, and it took America by storm. Yet again, the 27th retelling of the Menendez brothers story. Well, today, the 28th retelling of the Menendez brothers
story. This is like a country
stories.
music award situation.
It is. It drops on Netflix. Following the release of Ryan Murphy's Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, this documentary features phone interviews with the infamous brothers who were serving life in prison for the murder of their parents.
Mm-hmm. Remember when they went to that Knicks game that one time?
That's right.
I bet that'll be in there.
Sure, it's got to be.
That's
Connor, that's what to watch tonight.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That's the show. If you miss anything, you can find it all. 1620thezone.com. I'm gonna go hole up and just take some deep breaths.
Take care of yourself, but also if you could do us a favor and tweet through it.
I have been known to tweet through it,
Okay,
so
good.
might be happening. So expect that tonight at Connor Happer. If you'd like to give me a follow, enjoy my misery or successes. We always like those. Along for the ride, everybody. The crossover's coming up next on 1620 The Zone.